And I
Do
wanted,
you know if she's coming?
I sent it to her.
Zizi.
Yeah.
Okay, you sent it to her. Okay.
Don't know if she's going to be able to make it today. I hope she does. We're not going to be on a too long. We were
Right.
on the last thing close to 5 hours. We definitely can't afford to do that today.
Do
But I want
Fala.
to get a part two out real
Okay.
quick. If the subject's good, I like to do a part two before we move on to another subject. Because there's some other things I want to
Yes.
discuss too. So let me get this part two out. Um, but yeah, this is going to be piggybacking off of our last live where we discussed the Pan-African bias against FBA, Black American. All right,
Right.
Black American and FBA, same thing.
Yeah.
All right. So let me let some people up, and BX, you can go ahead and set the panel, set the room, and then we can get started.
Okay. So when you request to come up and you're allowed on the panel, immediately go on mute until directed to speak. When you are directed to speak, please lead with your race and ethnic group. And if you're over 18, we don't need pronouns and all of that. And you don't have to state your correct age. Just say you're over 18 and we'll get it. So what I mean by race and ethnicity, because people really seem to be getting tripped up with that. So racially, I'm Black. My ethnic group is African American / Black American, which is used interchangeably. But I culturally identify as a foundational Black American, which is just our way as a reclassified people of telling the government, you can't rename us. We know who we are, and this is the name that fits our lineage, right? So that means that if my ancestors actually were found on the 1870 census in the United States of America, not the Americas, but America, and they were here and emancipated between 1863 through 1865. If you're an American Indian and you do not have enslaved in your ancestry, we get it. You could say American Indian. We might ask you exactly if you are from the United States, and then we're good from there, right? So, but if your ancestors don't fit any of those criteria, then you are origin, meaning if you have two parents who come from Jamaica, then you're Jamaican American, Haiti, Haitian American, Nigeria, Nigerian American, Ghana, Ghanaian American. If you're Puerto Rican or Mexican and Dominican, then those are ethnicities. You got to lead with your race. Well, identify your race. So if you present as white tea, just say you're white tea. If your paperwork says white tea, please say white tea. We do understand that there are Afro-Latinos, so you could say that too, and then give us the country from which you originate, right? Also, TikTok friendly language only, please. So you got to say like unaliving, strange fruits, deletion, puffery or greenery or broccoli for, that stuff that people are trying to make legal, and substance or hard candies for those words, right? And then, please don't comment stuff in the chat like that's not TikTok friendly. Try to code those words as much as possible. Also, continuously like and tap the screen. Okay, share it out to your friends. Let's get some people in here. See that orange heart up by Afro Elite's name? Click that heart and complete the daily mission. It helps keep them in the rankings and into the algorithm. So we're here to have a discussion based on Pan-Africanism, and if it's no problem, be for real, and if Pan-Africanists are biased. So we're gonna go with that. When the host gets back, of course.
Yeah. Okay. So we have people up here already. Let's.
Yes.
You're the only speaker up here. I'm setting something up real quick. So, what's your name? How do you pronounce your name?
My name is Danny.
Danny. Danny, where you from, Danny?
I'm originally from East Africa, Eritrea. Uh,
You're
um, I, li-
originally there. Where are you now?
I live now. I live in America, in California.
Okay. So what's on your mind?
Now I was just seeing this. I was trying to ask you, like, because they were comparing Pan Africans. I don't believe like Pan Africans are real pro Africans. So I don't know why a lot of people think that Pan African are do work for Africans, and they bring them as like this. It's uh, like a big revolution that people are behind them. So I don't know. Are you African? Like, I want to ask you, like, do you think Pan-African are good for Africa?
I am a black.
I don't. I like me. I'm from East Africa, but Pan-African are like the worst organization.
Okay, so do you agree with Pan-Africanism? I'm not even
No,
sure
I
your
don't.
stance
I
on.
don't.
So
I
you
don't.
don't.
I
Why?
don't.
Why don't
Pan-African
you?
are
Why?
like Pan-African are. It's like the excusing group. They always they believe that the problem in Africa is always in Western because of Western countries. They don't try to hold the dictators accountable in Africa. So they're just like the puppets of African dictators, Pan Africa. That's why I see them. That's how I see them.
So when you say Pan-African, are you talking about, you know that Black Americans can be Pan-Africans as well as people from the continent and the Caribbean? You understand that's a label for those who want to champion the diaspora, specifically Africa, right? Because I don't want you to think that we're just talking
No,
about
no, no, no.
a
I'm not.
specific group.
When I say Pan Africans, I'm not including all Pan Africans who maybe who speak the like African Americans who are or Caribbeans who are Pan Africans who believe that trying to solve the problem. But most African Pan Africans always is just excusing the dictators like. I believe that there is okay. Of course, there is influence of European countries doing bad things in Africa, but mostly the backstab at the top. You know, it's like these African dictators. Most of them are being like 30 years, they're like 25 years. Like in my case, I'm Eritrean. The dictator who is leading the country has been there for 35 years. So how am I going to come and blame European countries for something that 35 years been the same Eritrean who looks like me, you know?
Okay,
So
I get what you're saying. I do though. I do get what you're saying because what you're saying, from what I can pick up, is that you're saying that there's a lack of accountability among people in Africa, and Pan
yeah,
Africanists tend to deflect and try to hide accountability and avoid the people who are in Africa being accountable for the decisions that they've made. And I think you can, the conversation, there can be two wrongs in that, because I don't think anybody's trying to make the argument, or at least I'm not trying to make the argument, that the West and the Western powers are not a factor, or even really mostly to blame for the condition going on the continent of Africa. My thing is that we also have to acknowledge the fact that the government in Africa, as well as the citizens in Africa, their mentality and the way they deal with other people and outsiders and the way they deal with each other enables a lot of problems. All right. So they bring a lot of problems to themselves because of cultural behaviors and norms. And that is the truth of the situation. And we have this thing where we're always taught to kind of coddle the continent, so much so that when they do wrong, we have to say that it's not their fault for doing wrong. So that's a lot of the reason why the continent is in the situation it's in right now, because a lot of them make bad business deals. A lot of them allow Europeans or even just Asians, non-black people to come in and then start taking charge of them, you know? And when we say that, it becomes, oh, well, let's entirely blame them, right? Let's entirely blame them. Let's entirely blame the West, I mean, and let's not blame them for their own part to play. And this isn't victim blaming, but you're not going to solve the problem unless you get to acknowledging that there are people there who are complicit, and they do have a part to play in the situation. That's the only way you're going to solve anything. Now, if you guys could do me a solid, I make no sense. Well, you can come up and you can don't you can come up and um state your stance. If I'm not making any sense, if you know it and I don't know it, you can request up. But I need you guys to click that like. Everybody, let's click that like. I appreciate you guys for clicking that like. I want as many people in here as possible. Halim, come on, man. What's going on? What's going on? If I'm not making any sense, then let's have this conversation now. Now this conversation was loaded. I'm married to a white woman. Come, if y'all want to come up, see, and let me say something. Let me say something to you guys. The gaslighting that you guys are doing, you guys do a whole lot of, until we might as well make the screen a little bit different now, because I don't like it when it just looks empty when it's like this. So we're gonna fix it like that. Okay. The gaslighting that you guys do, you guys understand that makes you guys look bad. When you guys can't retort what I'm saying, when you guys can't find a way to logically rebuttal what I'm saying, when you guys gaslight and say, well, you just sound whitewashed, you just sound like you're married to a white woman, you just sound like you're a good. When you say stuff like that, you really defeat your own argument, because you're showing you're giving up. That's you throwing in the towel. That's what you're doing. Okay? When you resort to trolling, that means all other intellectual options have been exercised. You've exercised all other options. Now you're just clowning. All right. And that's a defense mechanism, which you wouldn't have to use if you were right in the first place. But we have Halim here. Halim, you said I was wrong. I didn't know what I was talking about. Right?
No, I didn't say that. I said you make absolutely no sense. That's what I said.
Okay, well, that's the same thing. Yeah. But okay, well, how do I
No, it's not the same thing. No, we're not going to start this off with that.
I say, if what I'm saying is wrong, okay? If I'm saying it's wrong,
and giving me a definition of what I stated, okay?
That is I didn't say that. Means the same thing. But okay, let's.
You want to play the word game? You can play that by yourself.
Argument, stop.
We're not going to do that.
Stop it. What? Say what you have to say, Lord.
Okay, I mean, it makes no sense to me, because I'm looking at a group of people over here in America who are the richest black people on earth, but still they go to white people in this country for everything they need to live. They're no better than the Africans over there. They're not in control of their own economy. They still run to white people. Matter of fact, they don't run to them. They invite them in and let them colonialize and build. Here come Asians, Indians, and Germans, and all these people in control of their economy. Same thing here. BOK people, you don't see any hospitals, schools, nothing out of none of us. Not out of hip-hop community, not out of Adolf or FBAs or Muslims or even the Southern Baptist.
Pan-Africanists, or Pan-Africanists.
We have more schools than anybody. We have more schools than anybody.
Stop. Y'all not doing nothing. While y'all be the main ones criticizing what everybody not doing. Y'all ain't got no points on the board.
Come on, my man, listen. The greatest liberation of this country's history. Practice Pan-Africanism. BX, I don't do you. And
you can't do me, that's why. We need you to have some decorum. You're making Pan-Africans look bad.
You are.
There's nothing wrong with talking at a normal level. This isn't those other platforms that you can crash out on, okay? So you can either have the conversation or I could drop you now.
And what does this have to do with the subject at hand, honestly? This has nothing to do with the subject at hand. You said I didn't know what I was talking about. What did I say that was incorrect? If you came up on, you must request it on accident. You said you don't know how you came up. What did I say that was incorrect, Halim? Okay, now he dropped by himself. He dropped by himself, and the whole thing of we don't run anything. That's a lot of quote unquote Pan-Africanists are self-defeated Negroes. They're self-defeated. They act like black people can't do anything. We the worst of the worst, because just because we're still going through the struggle, man, we don't have this and this and this. These are the most glass half empty ass people you will ever meet. Okay, for people who claim to love black people, these are the most critical, reprimanding, self-deprecating people you will ever meet. All right, these are the people like, we don't got a store, we don't got this, we don't got this. We used to have all of those things. We literally used to have all of those things. And guess what happened to those things? Those things were taken, those things were destroyed, those things were flooded not very long ago. There are still people alive today who lived through that stuff. So it wasn't that long ago when that stuff happened. And that stuff is still actually happening now. All right? While you guys, well,
Is
we
this
don't have
Afro?
nothing, you're taking the history out of
Right.
context. All right?
Can I say this? He really does make Pan-Africans look bad for the simple fact that I do know that there are Pan-African schools out there. Take Dr. Umar off the table, and you have a young man who's a family man in Brooklyn, New York, okay? And he has a school that he uh, uh, got donations for, and it's running beautifully. I sat in one of their classes, like a demonstration, heard some presentations. Those kids are so smart. And so sometimes I do have to give some Pan-Africans their credit. Now, if Halim was a true Pan-African, he would know that there are schools out there, even if they're home schools, even if they're virtual. So let's cut it out. But it's not enough of dead running around. There's too many Halims. So I'm gonna give them their credit. And then there's other black-owned schools out there. So you got to stop. We got Black Americans that write curriculums. Some of them are on this app. So stop acting so defeated. We're not a defeated people. We're frustrated. At least I am. I'm very frustrated.
What is y'all frustrated
But
with?
yeah. So I'm frustrated with the state of America and the indifference towards Black Americans, okay? Whether you identify as freedmen, FBA, ADOS, AA, if your ancestors were here and can be found on the 1870 census in the United States of America, then yeah, I'm frustrated with the conditions of us because people migrate here and think they can migrate into our ethnic group, and they do cause a disruption to our natural flow of life. They do siphon things that are specifically for us, but then the things that's specifically for them, we can't get, but yet
But
we all black anyway,
ain't that
right?
everybody though?
Right?
They ain't that
No, no.
Hold on.
1960 something. Since the
Isn't what everybody?
1950
Isn't
something.
what everybody?
I mean, that's everybody. Like, far as from the 60s,
Okay,
I
wait,
say from
Lord, give
64
me your ethnic group.
past.
Give me your ethnic group. Give me your ethnic group.
What do you mean by ethnic group?
We ask everybody for their race and ethnic group, and if they're over 18. I gave my race. Racially,
Hey,
I'm black.
I'm black, just
My
like
ethnic group
everybody
is
else.
African American. So, you know
I
what?
mean, is
You
African
came up here to be
American
a
black or not?
contrarian because you won't even let me land. Hold on.
Okay, go
Hold
ahead. My
on.
bad.
Because there's a group of black immigrants, right? African descendant
Yeah, we
immigrants
know that.
who migrate here and think they are us. We're making a distinction of who we are because culturally we're different and we're demanding things from our government that they're simply not entitled to,
Okay,
right?
but brother, you are
That's
slowing
what
the
I'm
room
saying.
down.
Can I ask a
Okay, go ahead.
question?
What is your ethnic group? And your
What you
BX, I
mean by
think you got some noise. And okay,
okay? You hear me now?
yes,
Okay, I have always considered myself just being black. I don't go into the African American because when I was growing up, you know what I'm saying, I was born in 72, we called ourselves black.
okay,
It wasn't until 84 when they started calling each other African Americans, and there was a pushback amongst black people then.
okay.
We
All
want
right.
to be
Well, that's
considered African Americans.
all
But
right.
when I'm saying, when you say ethnic group, is that what you're trying to say, or what do I
Yeah, that's
identify
what she meant.
myself as?
That's what she meant. Now, what is your opinion on the prompt? Because you came up, you want.
I don't think Pan-Africanism is biased towards African Americans because if you look at
No, it's against. I'm not saying towards, against.
I love it's against Black America, why you say that though?
Because when Black Americans get disrespected by the diaspora, or when we have an issue with people from the diaspora, you have people who are proud, quote unquote, Pan-Africanists who will come up and defend and have this very one-sided way of defending the Africans in the continent. All right. when we get assaulted or disrespected. Now, when you have Africans who are disrespecting us, you don't see Pan-Africanists saying anything. The only people you see talk about negatively are Black Americans. Pan-Africanists talk very negatively about Black Americans, and they are always ready to criticize and quote unquote correct Black Americans. They are not ready to criticize and correct Africans for the stuff they do in Africa or the stuff they do here. I had a live stream for close to 5 hours a day or two ago, where a bunch of Pan-Africanists came into the live and verified that point. So this is really a part 2 to that live.
Yeah, I to a degree, I can say, you know what I mean, like I have always heard that because I'm Muslim, and I have been to a lot of mosques with different groups of people throughout the years. So I have experience where, you know, you had Africans being very biased towards African Americans or had a dislike for African Americans, but I don't think that's entirely uh, universal. I think that's individualist.
Well, okay. All of them may not act that way. Why is my thing tripping right now? All of them may not act that way, but the thing is that we're starting to really recognize a pattern.
Yeah, I'm recognizing. I ain't gonna lie. I'm not gonna. Don't get me wrong, bro. Hey, you know, I'm a firm believer that we all the same group of people. You know what I'm saying? Just different continent, but I'm solely, you know what I'm saying, really taking that field that you taking. You know what I'm saying? Because most people, like it's like you have a brother. He out there in the streets doing this thing. He running the streets or whatever. We all may talk about him inside, like bro, a Doug, he an addict or whatever. But we ain't gonna get in the streets and talk about bro like he ain't our brother though.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? We might talk about him inside, but we not gonna talk about him bad and say the things that we've been wanting to say in the public eye. And I've been a lot of Africans, I have noticed that, man. You know what I mean? They have a lot of foul things to say, you know what I mean? So it's been hard for me to, you know what I'm saying, to fight that fight with them, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But on the other side, I also think it's a machine that's pushing this division, though.
Okay. Well, the thing is that if it's a machine, and a lot of people feel like it is, we have too many people who are complicit with the machine. We got too many people going along with the get along with the machine. And they
But
need to stop. And we need to address them, and we need to call them out for their behavior. And
I mean, the Nation of Islam, they come from, you know what I'm saying, Pan-Africanism. They come from Marcus Garvey's teachings.
Okay, but
A
here's
lot of
the,
them do.
hold on, hold on.
Foundational.
Here, hold on. Here's the thing. That's kind of we're getting off topic then, but because
Okay,
the thing is that I want to talk about what's going on right now, because what's going on right now is that all over, I'm not sure if you know, I'm gonna mute you because there's a background noise. All over TikTok, there's talks about a boycott of African businesses, which stemmed from African braiding shops, and then it went on to African businesses, then it goes on to immigrant businesses in general. All right, so it's a big topic where a lot of people are considering boycotting immigrant businesses in general for their disrespect and mistreatment of Black Americans, foundational Black Americans. Okay, so it's gotten to this point because you have the diaspora, whether that's Africa, the Caribbean, blacks from the UK. They've been talking out the side of their neck, and it's been gone on for generations. All right. And it's really been wrapping up now with social media and people being able to make podcasts and things like that. And that's not being checked. The Pan-Africanists don't want to say anything about that, even though they want to call for unity. Okay. And then they look at us, and then they'll say things like, if we say something about them, they'll look at us and say, we need to stop causing division, and we need to stop being xenophobic, and we need to show them more respect and love. These people who are Pan-Africanists never stand on business and tell the diaspora that they need to show us any respect at all, any respect or appreciation. They only tell us we need to show them respect and appreciation, and how much we need to look up to them. And because of that, it enabled their behavior and enabled it up until the point where their disrespect has reached its zenith right now. Now it's at an apex and the straw has broken the camel's back. Now we're at where the conversation of a boycott is even being discussed. So I'm getting to, with this is going to be the root of it, because there is a bias against Black America. Okay, because you can have a person running around with a camera and a microphone asking people, where are Black Americans from, and they will say, we don't know. There's an ongoing thing in the diaspora where they're saying, Black Americans, foundational Black Americans, we don't know where we're from. We don't know where we're from. Yet they don't say that about the Caribbean, who's also not from Africa. Okay, they don't say that about Black people in the UK. They don't say that about Black people anywhere else. They only say that about us. There's unique things about we don't have a culture and we don't know where we're from and we're lost and we're Akata and we're stuff like this. These are things that only we face. Only we get told. We get picked on by the whole diaspora. And these pan-Africanists who worship Africa don't want to say anything. So it's gotten to this point where by them not saying anything, it has enabled this disrespectful behavior to the point of, okay, well, now we're at where we're at. Okay. Halim, if you were, less emotional, I might bring you up to have a civilized conversation, but because you can't be civilized, then you're just going to have to sit there and talk to yourself. All right. But do you understand where I'm coming from with that? And yet you've seen that. But I want to move on to allow other people to get a chance to weigh in. So thank you. Let me see. I think the next person was Sinitra.
Hi, how you doing?
How you doing?
All right. I am Black and I'm Black American.
Okay.
All the way around. Granddad is everybody. We're from Florida and from Georgia.
Mm.
Hey BX, how you doing, girl?
Hi, Sinitra.
Okay.
I'm fine. How are you?
I'm good.
Okay.
I just popped in really quick. What I wanted to say concerning the prompt is I agree. They are completely biased toward Black Americans, and we're their own people, the ones that are over here. And it's disturbing, but it's to be expected, because in order to be Pan-African, you are centering Africa. And so if you center Africa and everybody else is just kind of satellites surrounding Africa, then by the time we're looking for them to criticize these folks rightfully on the things that they're doing and saying and perpetuating. They don't want to do that, because then you're having to criticize what you're putting on a pedestal. And that's what they're not willing to do. They have based their entire identity on pedestalizing and centering Africa, which is ridiculous in and of itself. And I find it ridiculous, not because just, on the strength of just you being African is not bad. It's not. But I find it ridiculous because it doesn't happen, like you said, anywhere else. You don't hear people demanding that Jamaicans call themselves African Jamaicans. Ain't nobody screaming and beating on their chest and throwing mud everywhere if a Haitian don't say, I'm an African Haitian. Brazilians don't have to say, I'm an African Brazilian. That is only done to Black Americans because we have resources and social capital that folks want to latch on to. And they feel like by us delineating, that cuts them off from access to our resources and our identity. And so just like people can respect that a Jamaican is Jamaican, you need to respect that an American is an American. They are a specific admixture that exists only in Jamaica. We are a specific admixture that exists only in America. That's it. That's all. It doesn't mean that we hate anybody. It don't mean that we wish bad on you. All it means is we have our own individual genetics, our own culture. We are our own people. We can still have love for you. We have shown them nothing but love and got nothing but disrespect in return. And that's why we keep finding the so-called pan-Africanists, these Afrocentric people, not checking the disrespect coming from Africa and other people. They only check our response to it. They only police our responses. So what they're asking us to do is something that's against our nature. We are fighters. We were over here with these clear people. When they disrespected us, when they fought with us, when they disenfranchised us, we boycotted. We resisted. That's why you ended up with the Black Panthers, with the Deacons of Defense. That's why you ended up, you know, with people that like Tunis, who ended up being the AME preacher. We are resistors. We are fighters. We check disrespect no matter who it comes from. When the clears disrespect, we boycott. We stand up. We push back. So why on earth would Pan-Africanists or anybody expect Black Americans, when we're being disrespected, this is going to be the one group of people we don't push back against? That sounds ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I have for it. But I love your platform. I love your panel. Thank you so much for having me. I'm going to duck out. But I really do love what you guys are doing. I'm going to be in the chat, okay?
Thank you. Thank you very much, sister. I appreciate you.
All right. Thank you, dear.
I agree. I agree. And the problem is because Pan-Africanism, instead of it being this whole thing where we all got to stick together and we're all this big family, it becomes a thing where Africa is now like some deity. And now everything is centered around Africa. And any criticism of Africa at all is blasphemy. That's how Pan-Africanists treat Africa. That any criticism of Africa or what's going on there is blasphemy. And yet we are the ones who are only willing to be criticized or able to be criticized. All right.
I
So
don't
that's what's
agree with
going
that,
on.
bro.
Hold on. We got to get to the other speaker real quick. And that's why they're at where they're at. Now, there's talking about in the chat room, they're going to be like, y'all don't know what you're talking about. But truth of the matter is they all know, because they fled. And they fled for a reason. They know why they fled. They know why they fled. They didn't flee because they felt like America was worse than where they were living before. None of them did. None of them did. Now let's get to Black Man. You got it. You got it, brother.
What's up, brother? I think you are 100% correct. It has become Pan-Africanism has become a spirituality or religion to them. So how can you critique that, right? So, and it becomes dangerous because that's the same thing that happened on the continent. Those people have adopted different forms of spirituality, which changed their identity perspective, and they began turning on one another. And that's why you got all the what we call Arabized, Christianized, Islamized, etc. on the continent, and they sparked a lot of the division that they got now. But I think the biasness comes to the fact that it's not about how successful we are or not. It's about how influential we are. Because I think influence is beyond monetary value. Regardless of what we lack at or what we strive at, we are the most influential people on the planet by far. And we're doing it without looking externally. So that's where the envy comes in. And I think that's where the disdain for Black Americans come. And I use it as an example on some of the continent, on some countries on the continent, some of the countries that have had some success. I won't paint it all like some of the. I would say we see less of this disdain from people in Ethiopia, not being biased, but they have a lot of disdain as well. It's because they have had some success. But when you have the influence that we have and the success that we have, that's where you get this disdain coming from, and that's all it is. But we're gonna keep going, and I appreciate you doing everything you're doing, brother. Keep the foot on the neck.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate you. Okay. Thank you. Let's keep this flowing. We're gonna get to Laser Abdul Rahim.
What it up? What it do?
How you doing?
What's going on with you?
I'm good, brother. How you doing?
I'm pretty good. I can't complain.
Where are you from? Where you from?
I'm from Detroit.
Where are your people from?
I'm
where's your lineage? I would say.
My lineage goes back in Africa. I've tested my DNA, but unless I'm Black American, African American, I'm like the previous brother. Like I didn't get off into that because I watched that title unfold on people. Personally, my personal experience is I think the culture in this country has done us a disservice anyway. So my whole take on the American culture is a whole totally different topic.
Okay.
And so we're not even going to go into that. But nonetheless, I will say this. The previous brother, he was Muslim. I'm Muslim too. I was born in 76. I think he said he was born 72. And as far back as I can remember, and I assume you're probably a little younger than us, but as far back as I can remember, I was raised, and I think our generation was raised with a negative perception of this place and these people.
When you say this, you mean America or Africa?
America.
Okay, you were raised with negative perception about America. Okay.
No, about Africa.
So
Africans and Africa.
you were raised with a negative perception about Africa.
We were all raised with a negative perception about
For yourself, brother.
Okay.
Speak for
Okay.
yourself.
So when we were raised up coming up as kids, okay, what we saw was huts, starving people, starving little babies. We didn't know too many Africans. You might have seen one or two at a school. That term African booty scratcher, if you can say it on this platform, that goes way back, way back. We was hearing that when we was kids back in the late 70s, early 80s, of breakdancing days. So it's been around, and anybody who wasn't one of us, you automatically got isolated and you got pretty much ridiculed. If you spoke like you was from the Caribbean or if you spoke like you was African.
And you're from Detroit?
I'm from Detroit.
Okay. Okay.
So bottom line was I started hearing this about a lot of people from different places. You know what I'm saying? Like this was pretty much the norm. So what I'm getting at, and one thing I notice about our people is this. We do, and I'm speaking from the heart, and I hope somebody else can resonate with this and reiterate it. But we do have an issue with we can dish it out, but we can't take it. We can dish it out, but when it comes back to us, it's deemed as disrespect. And this goes back even to the streets, into the street organization's culture.
Okay.
I can hit y'all hood, but y'all bet not hit my hood.
Okay. What are we dishing out that we can't take?
We
Exactly.
have been
Just for the sake of time, 'cause we got a full panel. So
I know
what are
I'm
we
not going
dishing
to keep
out
you long.
that we can't take?
We have a culture. That is, I'm not gonna lie, it's a I'm talking the black subculture,
Okay.
and it's a lot of it is negative, and it does have to do with disrespect. Even in the rap game, the music, which is the most influential part of our culture is somewhat predicated on a part of it, disrespect. You come at me, nobody gonna come at you harder than a black man. You come at a black man, disrespect, man, you gonna get the business because we professionals at disrespecting you. You know what I'm saying? We professional.
Okay.
Nobody gonna cuss you out like one of us.
Okay. Let me ask. What part of what we've done to Africa have we dished out to Africa that we can't take them doing back to us?
I like I said, I grew up on the negative comments around. It wasn't at them. I just was always impartial and neutral, but I would always hear these comments by friends, comrades, families, and you would always just hear these, and we just like that. Let's keep it funky. We like that with white tea people. We like that with a lot of people, Arabs. We just like that.
Mazar, that's not the question he asked you.
Yeah, I'm asking now. Okay, so we've had Africans come up here, and they have confessed. We've had Africans and Caribbeans come up here, and they've confessed that their parents and their family would tell them to stay away from us, to not be friends with us, not go playing with us at school, not date us, not marry us, to completely not be like us at all. Stay away from the Akata, okay? Or Jarir or Habib or whatever derogatory term that they have created for us, all right? The slur that they use for us. They literally have slurs for us. All right.
Mhm.
We don't have slurs for them. So when we have people saying that they were taught at home not to be around us, and you're saying that we've been taught to have some disdain for Africa, when you got the Pan-African movement was based in America. This is where there was no Pan-African movement really nowhere else. There were people who believed in the idea, but the Pan-African movement was here, which is why you have Black Americans with Africa tattoos and Pan-African flag tattoos, flags that nobody else was waving until very recently, mind you. Okay, we were the ones who were doing that and making the word black popular and saying black power and stuff like that. So I'm not going to say that you didn't grow up like that, but when you're saying we grew up like that, no, we didn't. We were making protests about apartheid in South Africa. In America, we were protesting about what was going on in South Africa, which is the reason why the apartheid ended in South Africa. So we've always had this love and respect and reverence for Africa. So it's not like we had this thing against Africa and now all of a sudden we getting a taste of our own medicine. It's the exact opposite. We
I
fought
disagree with
for
that.
them. We
I
fought for
disagree with
them
that.
to come here. There was laws that set quotas that prevented them from immigrating into America. Like that happened, and we had to literally fight for the right for them to immigrate here. And then for them to put their businesses in here in our communities so they can get a footing in America.
But I mean, let's keep it real. Like the previous brother said, like for instance, the liquor stores are owned by Arabs, and they've been here for probably about 60, 70 years. They ain't been here that long. And every neighborhood, every city in our country is flooded with Arab or Indian or Chinese owned liquor stores. We never put that funk down on them.
What does that have to do with the conversation, though?
No, you just said they're coming over here and setting their businesses up in our communities. So I said, like the previous dude said, the Arabs are doing, like they own literally the majority of the liquor stores in Detroit.
Okay.
Okay, and we can go to Philadelphia, we can go to Newark, we can go.
Okay, so the point. Let me ask you. The point you're making is that we're not supporting them because we're supporting everybody, right? But the difference with that is that you got to take the context into the fact that we didn't fight and protest for the Arabs to be here. We literally fought and protest for them to come here, for our diaspora, our African brothers and sisters and the Caribbean brothers and sisters to come to America. Okay.
I mean, do you?
Hold on, y'all. Stop over talking to host, please.
Hold on, everybody. We were fighting on behalf of Nelson Mandela. All right. And what was going on in South Africa, as well as Ethiopia.
I remember that.
Okay. So our history is contrarian to what you're saying. That's the contrary of what you're saying. You're saying that we were taught to look down on them and to dislike them. And literally our history is telling a different story.
I'm telling you, from 1976, from my date of birth, that the people I grew up with, the black people that came along that generation, they could not name, they probably can only name 2 or 3. Most of them didn't even know. That's why they still use the term them Africans. Africa is a continent. Most of them did not know that there were only 54 countries in Africa. They know very little about it. They've never been there. They had no desire to go there. And what little they did know was a negative perception.
But that's disingenuous because around that time, Africa. Hold on. Those African countries was just beginning.
These countries didn't.
These countries were, a lot of these countries were established around the 60s. If you Google these countries and the origin of these countries were officially recognized and established right around that time. Mind you, this is times before people had smartphones and were able to Google and look things up. So So yeah, there was a lot of people who couldn't name all
Afro,
54
can I?
countries.
I just want to chime in real quick and go back on mute. He keeps going over the fact that we had Africana studies in our
Wait,
education
if we're gonna,
institutions, and even then, hold on, bro, hold on, Lazar, real quick, and even then, our celebrities like Muhammad Ali, he heralded Africa when he went there to fight. So Lazar, what are you talking about,
if
brother?
you want to talk, then he can allow you up. But right now, he's asked me to speak.
Dog, I'm just cutting it for my brother. Relax, bro. Don't get emotional.
Nobody's emotional. I'm logical. I'm
Okay,
100%.
brother. Here's the thing: you're telling a story, and maybe what you're saying is true to
You
what
might not
your
like
life.
what I'm saying, but what I'm telling you is from my perspective, and
Okay, and from
this is
but
what
the
I'm
thing
telling you.
is that
Anecdotal.
that's not. We're talking about the general consensus
This is
of
the
the
general.
lineage.
This is the
And
general.
in general, we have to look at the history of how the lineage has treated the diaspora, which is opposite of what you're saying. The lineage has based off of history. I'm not talking about how I was raised or how you was raised or how he or her. I'm talking about what we have done to assist the diaspora.
Okay,
We have done
this is what
our
I'm telling you.
lineage. Listen, hold on, brother. Our lineage has done a lot to aid the diaspora. Okay, so that can't be the truth if we have always had this thing where we hated the diaspora. Those two things can't exist in the same space.
What I'm
So
telling
when we're
you.
talking about the lineage, we're talking about a lineage that's always aided, assisted, and upheld Africa. All right.
What I'm
So
telling
if
you.
you if I don't know if you have had a different experience with a different group of people, okay. And I'm not gonna say that's true or untrue because I don't know, but we're gonna have to move on. We're gonna have to move on.
That's fine.
All right. Oh, all right. Let's get to J or GC. Let's get to GC.
Sure, everything you going. Yeah, I
What's
just
up,
want to
brother?
say, yeah, Pan-Africanism is dead. It's a big scam that they put on our community. And then the guy that was up here before keep talking about our culture. Our culture has been infiltrated, been taken over by third world countries, man. You get what I'm saying? Like we got YNs out here that's shooting up everybody. That's not our culture. That stuff just started. And another thing I want to say, Dr. Randy Short said that his mentor, because he's one of the biggest Pan-Africanism, that his mentor said that was African, said that the Africans would undermine us if he keep pushing for this African Union type thing. Am I lying or am I right? That's all I wanted to say.
No, we need to be in charge of the way our lineage goes. We need to be in charge of that. Okay, we need to.
Yeah.
Okay, we know where we're going. Everything is working the way it's supposed to. That's what we need to. We need to keep focused on what we're doing. We're winning what we're doing. Okay, so we're gonna have to keep that up. We're gonna have to keep focused. Let's get to. I want to get now to American made Dave.
How you doing, brother?
I'm good. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing okay. I'm full foundational Black American. My both my parents are from Mississippi.
Okay.
My great grandfather was a slave, and I wanted to say I just want to come to the point of the Pan Africanism. Yeah, that's dead, man. I don't see us because it seems like the Pan Africans they want us to go to Africa and build up Africa. And I don't see myself doing that. I don't see a lot of black people doing that. Black Americans doing that. And it seems like it's only Black Americans, Pan Africans that's doing that. I don't see I'm from Florida right now. I don't see Haitians, Jamaicans, or people in the Caribbean promoting Pan Africanism. It's only like Black Americans. And a lot of them put their whole image or whole identity on Pan Africanism. And I feel like the this new movement of foundational Black Americans is tearing them apart. So they extra hostile right now. Cause I don't meet every Pan African that I meet, they like like very disrespectful to the FBA movement right now. And I just wanted to say that I just want to land my plane with that.
Thank you. Notice how Pan-Africanists speak on our culture. Notice it is always such a like a insulting and condescending. Notice how when Pan-Africanists speak on Black American culture, it's always in the negative. It's always this condescending. Look at hip hop, and we don't have this, and we don't have this. Now we have problems, and we're not perfect. But to be honest, we have we are the world's culture. The world copies our culture for a reason. All right. Our culture is so influential, it's global. But yet Pan-Africanists always have this glass half empty view of our culture. There is nothing they can say that's productive. Even though we fought for civil rights, even though we fought and made inventions and contributed to America and the world, they don't factor any of that stuff in. It's just negative, negative, negative. Now they don't say that with Africa. Keep that in mind. Just notice that. They don't have that to say about Africa at all.
Right.
They don't say African culture
So do
is
you
bad
think
at all.
take that position on civil rights the same way?
Hold on, man, I'm speaking. They don't say that about Africa at all. They don't say that about the Caribbean at all. They don't say that about any other place. But it's only our culture, the culture that, mind you, has the most points on the board, that they speak down on. It's like this weird, like, self-deprecating kink that Pan-Africanists have about Black Americans specifically. Now, what was your question?
My question is, do you take that same position when it comes to civil rights? I don't think Pan-Africanism stopped us, you know what I'm saying? I think it's more civil rights. I think the civil rights movement did more damage to us than anything. And I truly believe that, you know what I mean? Because before that, you know what I mean, we did our own things.
Well,
Pan-Africanism,
here's the
Right.
thing.
So can I
Pan-Africanism,
say
yeah,
this?
Pan-Africans is that just telling you. So do you as a person, do you agree that your lineage come from Africa, or you disagree with that?
Do I agree that I have some African heritage? I'm pretty,
Yeah,
yeah, I have some African
I'm,
heritage.
I'm figuring about 70-80% of you is that.
Well, no, well, I'm 100% FBA.
Relevance.
That's the thing. I'm 100%
Right.
here.
Relevance.
You know what I'm saying? But if you want to
We
go
don't
back,
need to get into
if you want to go
DNA.
back 2-3 thousand years ago, then yeah, I'm pretty
No, but
sure that I
what
have
I'm
some
saying is
African.
that
Yeah.
Pan-Africanism, that's what that's deal with. That don't just deal with, hey, you're from the Caribbean, or you from Africa, or you
DNA
from the
testing
United
is fairly
States,
new.
or from the United
Pan-Africanism
States.
has been here since after
But
slavery.
no doubt,
That
no
DNA
doubt.
is fairly new.
We're
DNA testing is fairly
Ma'am,
new.
ma'am, we know that. You're talking to a 53-year-old man. You're not talking to a
Yeah,
teenage man.
but why are you bringing it up? His percentages and stuff. He
Because what
identifies
I'm,
as foundational
no,
Black
what,
American, and he already said he has some.
see,
Percentages
what
don't
I
matter
do
at this
understand,
point.
check
He's
it out.
not cultured
One
as an
thing about,
African.
Hold on,
hey,
hold
one
on. What
thing
do you?
about,
Please,
one thing that
Afro,
throws me
I think
about,
it's time
listen,
to move on from
one thing
him.
Oh no, hold on.
about us as a people, we used to have understanding where we can sit down and have conversations. This like, you may not have agreed with the Nation of Islam at the time, but yet them brothers was making movements. You know what I'm saying? You may not agree with the
Okay,
Christian movement, but them brothers was making
but we
movements.
got to
But
get
we can't,
okay. So
in
I
order
want to
for
get
us
to
to get
other
a,
speak.
Lord,
Right,
land
I
your
want to
plane,
get to
please.
other
Yeah.
speakers.
in
And
order
right
for us
now,
to get
I'm
to somewhere,
right
we
now.
got to be
Hold
willing to
on,
sit
hold
down and have
on.
a
Everybody
conversation.
stop. Everybody stop. Right now, you're grandstanding.
I'm not
Okay,
grandstanding at all, bro.
because you came off the mic, and it wasn't your turn because other people haven't spoken yet, and now you're going on and on. What is your question? And I'm gonna answer it, and then we're gonna move on. Do you
Okay,
have a question?
my question is, why can't we as a people, because me and you are the same, why can't we have sit down and have, you know what I'm saying, open conversation and figure out ideas? Because like they say, small minds talk about people,
Okay,
great minds talk
brother,
about
that's what we're
Going
ideas.
out.
that's stop
That's what
Uh,
he's
stop
going
it.
out.
Stop it. Okay?
All right, all right,
That's
man.
what we're doing right now. That's what we're doing right now. We're having a panel where we're having a dialogue of different people with different ideas and different ways of beliefs and all that stuff. That's what we're doing right now. It's always this glass half empty. Well, why can't we just come together? Well, yeah, when we come together, everybody's not gonna And that's why we have to have a conversation. All right, let's move on. Let's get to Cornell, and I want him to go ahead because this just proves exactly what we're saying. Let's get to let me see, Cornell Urban. Okay, going once. Cornell. Going twice. Okay, well, I guess we're gonna have to move on then. Let's get to Nobody. What's up with you, bro?
I just, I just came because I was listening to the craziness from the comment section, and I wanted to ask the point you were making before, Lord, whatever, cut you off. Why is it we always frame our Black American culture as a negative thing, and we never look at the spectrum of it? It's always, oh, we're talking about drill music, we're talking about the YNs. It's like soul music is not negative. The fact that we share in different cultural studies in our educational environments, that shows you that we're positive. So I just wanted to challenge his whole thought process in regards to that, and ask him just one or two questions. You good, Carnell? Just ask him one or two questions about how is he framing this, and also the other point about like why does he think his anecdotal Carnell? Hold on, stay on me right quick, bro.
Okay.
Why does his anecdotal experience speak for everyone when I can literally take a chronological map and share since BX mentioned it, since after slavery, we've always had a idea of including Africa in something, whether it be art, whether it be different mediums, whether it be our names. There are people walking around with African names based upon our connection to the motherland, even though some of us have never been there. So I'm gonna be very quick. I'll land my plane. I just find it kind of funny that whenever we're talking about Black Americanist or pan-Americanist, they never want to juxtapose that we've been the ones doing the heavy lifting in regards of spreading Pan-Africanism in regards to hip hop in the 80s and 90s. Everybody had a black medallion repping for Africa. So I'll land my plane on that.
Thank you, brother. Thank you. Folks, Black Americans was wearing dashikis and all that stuff. Like, come on. We tried to be as African, and the thing is that not even a specific tribe. We was taking stuff from everywhere, Egypt, and then Ghana, and then Nigeria, and all over the place. We was Africaned out. Okay, that's where we were at that time. So when you come over here and you say that, and I don't believe that that's necessarily what happened to him, but I said even if it was, because I can't disprove that, even if it was. What you're saying is such a damn exception to the rule, because the rule is that we've never mistreated Africa. We've never mistreated African people or anybody from the diaspora. Otherwise, they wouldn't be here. All right, they wouldn't be here. Carnell, you got it. Yeah, you got it.
How you doing, everybody? I'm sorry, I really didn't understand how to get on. Now I got on. Now, Laser, listen, I want to understand Afro Elite. I agree exactly what you said. That might be your experience, but your experience isn't the typical experience of all of us FBA. I grew up here in Brooklyn, New York. Anybody who's been in New York would tell you it's Caribbean Central out this piece. There are other people I respect, Afro Elite, listen to, and they've all been in New York, and they know how it is here. It is Caribbean City here. Now, they are still a part of American Black culture. We might, listen, the difference between talking about you, coughing you an African booty scratcher, but still creating a policy called the 1964 Civil Rights Bill, which we asked to put our brothers and sisters for the diaspora in with us when we got ours that we fought for us. And we invited all of you in. Now, here's the other question. Where are all the other groups that have laws, policies, and rules that have the same thing that we made for ourselves and then put our brothers and sisters a part of what we fought for and built? So when you come, it sounds very disingenuous when we talk about, well, we shouldn't have anything to say. We fought for this. We built this. So when someone, because I can never go to Jamaica and talk crazy in Jamaica. I could never do that. Jamaicans would never have that. I could never go to Ghana, Nigeria. I could never go to another person's land, live there, create a life for myself, and then talk reckless about the people and the country I'm in. That would no disrespect, I wouldn't be still living. I wouldn't have a house to live in. Yep. They're gonna make sure and gonna let you know unapologetically you're doing the wrong thing. But we're not doing that to you when you guys come here. Calling somebody names, come on, man, that's nothing. That's somebody saying, hey, you a punk. Are you? Now, somebody coming over to you and punching you in the face, that's a different situation. Name calling is nothing. You still got rules, policies, and things that you guys can still get out here and get it and become a part of what we inviting you into. But when you come here and talk about, oh, y'all Yankees and y'all Americans ain't nothing, come on, man, that's disrespectful. I don't go to Ghana or Jamaica or Trinidad. I would never talk like that in somebody else's land, whether I became a citizen or not. That's not what you do. You don't go to another person's homeland and talk crazy. That's where this stuff is coming from that just seems so off the wall to us FBA. We just not understanding, like, hey, we invited you guys in. Why are you coming over here talking crazy and reckless and talking about we're not this, we're not that, or we're lazy, or we're better than you and everything else? And let's just take it again. When you compare your homeland to where we have what's happening here, there's no comparison when it comes to the GP. None. Hands down. The city of Atlanta does probably more than all the Caribbean all together. So please, get some respect on what we do, because we're not disrespecting y'all in any way, shape, or form. Any way, shape, or form. Check your people. We check ours, check yours.
Hi, BK. I'm BX from the Bronx. So I think that it's a slippery slope when you say the Caribbean has been here, it's Caribbean Central, and that they're a part of Black culture. What they have is Caribbean culture. They just live here. Because we are at a time when we are going for things like reparations and stuff like that, it's actually the Caribbean at our meetings demanding to be put on the bill when they were enslaved here, right? So there are certain things that they're just not entitled to. And if my family can be found in 1750 in New York, born in New York, and enslaved by the Dutch, then it's erasure to me. I just want to point that out. All your words sound right, but I see the chat like, is he really, he's not a good representative to be up there talking. And I kind of agreed with them because I'm not giving them Black culture. I'm not. They have Caribbean culture and they lived here.
Right,
We share
right.
one minute.
That's
and
agreed,
we shared culture. We shared culture.
Right.
Because then they're gonna
Right.
come in with the cool herc and stuff. If you need a green card, the borders are up. If you needed a green card to get in here, honey, you are not like us. You are not us. You didn't have a foundational Black American parent in your home, and you don't practice our traditions. Let me say that. So I just wanted to point that out. Because we are tussling basically for New York. So I just want to be mindful of the verbiage that's used. That's all.
Yeah, but the real thing is that's not what I'm saying. Caribbean culture is still part of Black. This as the whole. Yes, they're separate from FBA. Absolutely, sister. 100%. All I'm saying is that I'm just separating them, but talking about us as a whole. But at the same time, even as a whole, we're all separate. We're still separate. We're still separate. 100%. We're still separate from them. I'm not discounting that. You're 100% correct. I was saying it as a whole, as us all with Black culture. But their culture is Caribbean culture. Absolutely. Because I understand what you're saying about the verbiage. Because you're correct. Maybe the verbiage is the one I'm saying. Because I'm not saying that. No, that's not what I'm saying. I absolutely am very selective and separate with what we do and what they do. Absolutely. 100%.
I'm gonna give you this example. I'm gonna give you this example. One moment. I'm gonna give you an example. An interviewer ran over to a lady. She said, "How do you feel as a Black woman?" The woman said, "I'm not Black. I'm Caribbean." And the interviewer looked at, the street interviewers there.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So when you say they're a part of Black culture, it's a two-pronged fold
I understood
there, right?
it.
So
I
I'm not.
understood. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
That's all.
I understand.
Can I cut in on that?
I'm not disagreeing with her. She's absolutely correct. Yeah, I get what you're saying. You're absolutely correct.
Can I cut in on
separate.
Thank you.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Thank you. Hold on.
I'm from South Florida, and we have this thing. We have Juve and we have Carnival down here, and it's a big thing where a lot of Caribbeans tell Black American women that, oh, y'all can't be a part of this. This not y'all culture. Stay away. If you're a Black American, don't come out and celebrate Carnival or Duval. It's a lot of that down here. I'm talking about a lot, and it's like it's gonna be a big thing. You're gonna see this coming up is in October. That it's like it's getting to the point where they pushing us. They don't want us. They don't want Black Americans to be a part of Carnival or Juve down here. I just wanted to say that.
In New York, we have the same thing, and Juve, they don't. And honestly, for here, that's why I said here, they pretty much don't care. Like we mix in each other's culture. They do their thing. They come to our stuff, we go to their stuff. Here in New York, we don't really separate, but you know the differences. Depending on where you are and what you do and where you go, you know, oh, okay, where you going? Oh, I'm going to this Jamaican joint. Or where you going? Oh, I'm going to this Black American party. You know where you're going, but you can go in and you're not, to some degree, mainly ostracized because you don't belong. If you can get with the culture and the vibe that's there, it's not an issue. It becomes an issue when you start talking. Because Juve, we do here, I've been to Juve many times here in New York. Nobody's questioning me what I'm doing and how I am, because how they know who and what I am? They don't. I'm just partying with everybody else, having a good old time. So I hear you. It's probably down in Florida, but in New York, that's not an issue.
Well, let's move on. We're gonna
But
have
you
to
heard what
move
he
on.
said, right? There's a difference. The Caribbeans have their spot, we have ours. That's a form of segregation. That's a form of separation. So New York is actually very segregated, and Brooklyn is probably the most gentrified with the Caribbeans. For me, in the South Bronx, it's the Puerto Ricans. So in each borough, there's a different demographic that may be the dominant one of that area. But Caribbeans are gentrifiers too now. Let's not act like, they're just deeply embedded with us.
I agree.
And they're the ones locking us out. That Yvette Clark really needs to be voted out, y'all. But that's another conversation for another day. Thank you.
I agree with what she's saying. She's absolutely right.
But
Like
we
that.
are going to have to move on.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
We got a list of people who want to come up, and then we got some. So we're going to have to cycle some people out soon. So I want to get a couple of people to speak first. So thank you. Let's get to I Am My, and you got a lot of background noise. Let's get to I Am My Ancestor 2.0.
Hi Shiak Fuffy Mom. Hi BX. Hi everyone. So a lot of Pan-Africans, they are very condescending and I find them
Is
deceitful.
that you,
Huh?
Kiki?
Yes.
Oh, you changed your picture.
I
Oh, okay.
have I have about
Okay.
5 pages. I
Oh,
dibble
okay.
and
I
dabble and
recognize your
all of.
voice. I'm like, oh, that's Kiki. Okay. Oh, what's up?
Yeah, this is my main page. But a lot of them are very deceitful. For example, Lazar, he was just on a African live 2 days ago, and he referred to us as the hard ERs because he was pandering to Africans. And for some odd reason, he called us field slaves because he was pandering to Africans. Not only that, he said that our culture was degenerate culture. And I would never understand that about a group of people that call themselves Pan-African and they're supposed to be for the liberation of all black people within the diaspora. That makes no sense. How can you say that Black American culture is rooted in negativity, but also in the same talking point say that Caribbeans have a culture, but then Africans have a culture, but your own ethnicity don't? Like, you got to understand, first of all, Black Americans, when it comes to our overall culture, it's a form of poetry called concrete storytelling, right? I'm pretty sure I wish he was still here. When it comes to our music, when it comes to our dancing styles, when it comes to let's say our poets like Phyllis Wheatley, you're talking about Zora Neale Hurston, you're talking about Amira Baraka, right? It was based off the atrocities that our ancestors have been facing for over 405 years. And you say that that is negative because you don't understand the root and where it came from. And this is why with some Pan-Africans, I will never understand them. Our culture is not degenerate culture. Yes, there's negative aspects and attributes in everybody's culture, but just only highlighting the bad things, this is why we always get into these arguments. Because people like me, I actually hold lies trying to educate people about the good in our culture, the names that are not being shown, the names that are not being highlighted instead of, Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, people like that. And if you really want to be for real, a lot of Pan-Africans don't know that. They're not actually educated about Black American culture at all. If you would have asked a Pan-African, do you know what the COE is? The Congress of Racial Equality, which was the reason why the civil rights movement, right, was even impactful. They couldn't tell you that. If you would have asked them, like I said, Amari Baraka, who that is, they couldn't tell you that. If you would have asked them, do they know who James Baldwin is? They couldn't tell you that. A lot of these people, they just, disrespectfully, a lot of them are slow and they don't know anything about Black American culture. They don't know our customs, traditions, and religions, and they don't even actually indulge themselves in our culture on a day-to-day basis. So what gives you the right? And it's the overall gall. Like, it's just this is why I come on lives. Unfortunately, I can't do it on here, and I insult people and I degrade them because a lot of people are stupid and they need to touch grass. Not only that, they need to read books. A lot of I'm going to address them how they are. The pan goofies, they're stupid. Because first of all, a lot of them are like Elrich Cleaver, misogynistic. A lot of them are homophobic. A lot of them are not for the liberation of all Black people. They pick and choose the groups of people they want to liberate. And just because we are not on the same alliance and we disagree with them, for some reason they want to ostracize us for some odd reason. They're not Pan-African for real. They're pan goofies, pan idiots, pan. Never mind. I was gonna say something.
Yeah, let's
Yeah, I'm not finna
let's not
say
take it
that.
too far
But
now.
yeah, they're idiots.
Yeah. It's a thing, and this is why we're at where we're at. Because the people who are supposed to be defending us against disrespect, they're some of the main ones. It's this self-deprecating thing where they only see the bad. They only see the bad in us. They don't do that with everybody else. Everybody else, they only see the good, actually. But with us, it's only the bad gets recognized. Okay? So and this is why a lot of people are leaving the ideology of Pan-Africanism. Okay, because this is the representative of Pan-Africanist or Pan-Africanism is exactly how we just described them. All right, they got this thing against us. All right, even though the Pan-African movement was in America. Funny thing. But let's continue. Let's get to Unwritten Love.
Ready? Yeah, we're noticing the scripts, right? Like I think your last time you mentioned the scripts that the Africans are saying whenever they're being held accountable for not being contributive to Black American culture or Black American empowerment in any way. They bring up the African booty scratcher story, and this just alienated me from all Black Americans for the rest of my life. And therefore, I have not contributed anything to our community in that facet. We're just here to make our money, keep our head down, but yet we have a common enemy of white tea supremacy that I would never fight because I'm just here to make money, right? So that's the scripts we're noticing. But then we're also noticing the scripts on the Pan-African side, where it's almost like you have to have a negative view of Black American culture. If you even acknowledge that there's a culture at all, you have to have a negative view because they're actively participating with the people who want to erase our culture while they navigate here to then participate in this said culture that we do not have. So it's like their desire to go to Africa, which they can at any time, which is strange. The desire to just solely prioritize and go to Africa, they have to erase us in order for that to then happen, because we have to then be responsible for building Africa. Our resources have to be redistributed to Africa. And so if you can convince people that they don't have a culture worth preserving or maintaining, then they should be okay with just handing it over. But with this delineation, that is a big wrench in that plan, because wait a minute, what do you mean you're going to preserve this degenerate culture? What do you mean you want to actually acknowledge all the contributions that Black Americans make to America and the rest of the world? What do you mean you're going to then take this stance of now looking at Black Americans in a positive light? That goes completely against our agenda. And that then, puts a lens on Africa when we're adopting this ideology of this being our pedestalization. We can't have anything else above it. We can't have Black American culture above African cultures. What? That goes completely against your ideology. So it's like you're seeing, and these are Black Americans, which is like, it is so bizarre to observe this pattern that you have to adopt this anti-Black American to be pro-Africa. And it's like it can't be both. It can't be African can be a great place and they can focus on building up their continent and their countries, and the Black American can be the same, focusing on building up our communities and our nation. It can't be both. That's why you're seeing this divide or this push and pull of who's going to take what. And it's like, why is there this such level of ownership over a community that is completely removed from an entire continent? We have no connection to that continent. And yet there's this level of ownership that they're wanting to have to then be able to control that narrative. And Pan-Africans are playing directly into that hand of, I'm going to spread this false narrative of we grew up with a negative view of Africa. Like, come on. Anybody who grew up as Black Americans, we never had a negative view of Africans. Not once. We never even discussed Africans to begin with. One, most of us never grew up around Africans, but the view, we never looked at those commercials as this is being representative. Like, we're not slow. Like, we don't look at that to be the full represent. No one ever had that view. So and
We actually
someone mentioned, like,
dislike those commercials and stuff like that. We
you
used
know,
to call that stuff out.
exactly. And it's like someone mentioned the 90s. Like, look at all of our media in the 90s. We literally had so much paraphernalia of representing Africa. And so to take on that lie, and I'm like, this is the scripts. The scripts is, you have to say, we just grew up with such a negative view. We don't know anything about Africa, and we just, looked at them as all being destitute and da 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 da. Therefore, that then justifies again for them to alienate themselves from Black Americans. And it's like, it just goes back to this play of, they can come here, contribute absolutely nothing to Black American culture and our black empowerment, don't participate in any of the efforts that we're working towards on our behalf, right? And then subsequently, you're able to justify it by basically a smear campaign against our group, our ethnic group. And so it's like, you have to have this smear campaign rhetoric against Black Americans for this to work, and it's not. So yeah, I'll land there.
Yeah, exactly. You do, and it's not working.
Percent.
It isn't working. We were the main people. Hold on. We were the main people defending Africa when they would have those commercials, and you would see the kid, and he would be starving and stuff like that. We would be all like, "Don't do them like that." We were the ones defending them and making them out to be like the Prince of Zamunda, coming from Eddie Murphy, a Black American. Okay, and coming to America too, who made Africa he put Africa on a pedestal. Remember that? A Black American putting Africa on a pedestal, making a movie where they're kings and queens and got rich lands and kingdoms and stuff like that. When Michael Jackson did his music video, I think it was Remember the Time, if I'm not mistaken, and he was in Egypt and everything like that, and they was trying to,
Yes, it
they
was.
were pedestalizing them and making them look glorious and great with riches and stuff like that. All right, we were doing that, okay, and that was changing the image that you had the white tea people made. Okay, we were still doing that. Beyonce did that with the I think the Black is King album or whatever the case is. We've been on that type of page and on that type of time. So that whatever he was saying goes completely against our history as a lineage. Completely against it.
Facts.
Let's get to Mad Facts.
Thank you for allowing me up here. I appreciate you. I was born in 1970, and there wasn't any Africans in my neighborhood. I'm from the west side of the country. I'm not from the
Hey, hold
east.
on. I'm gonna have to drop somebody because we got a lot of people coming up. Let me see. Cornell, I'm gonna have
Drop
to.
me. Yeah, you could drop me. You could drop me.
All right then. All right, go ahead, Mad Facts.
Like I was saying, I'm from the west side, so I'm from California. But we didn't have any Africans over there either. So I'm trying to figure out where were all these Africans during the civil rights movement and all that, because I was born right after that, and I didn't see any Africans where I was at either. The joke, thank you, baby. The ongoing joke was the booty scratcher joke, but that's just what we were calling each other. We weren't talking to any Africans. I grew up in California, Compton, from Compton. But here's the thing: if most of us if you were just to sit down and do your family tree, a lot of us are finding out that we don't go back to after that whole root story was just that. It was a story. And Alex Haley did get sued for plagiarizing from what a white tea guy wrote down. And he was just fantasizing about, uh, uh, it was called a slave or something like that. And he tried to make it like it was an actual member of his family. All that is not even true. But when I was coming up, they would play roots and all that and indoctrinate our young minds. Now, I'm a grandfather. There's a lot of grandmothers that are under the belief and fathers that we come from Africa behind that era of when they were doing all that. Now, the time that you spoke about, I remember it well. I was feeling sorry for them because they were portrayed to be hungry, a lot of flies, a lot of huge bellies and stuff like that. And what they didn't say is that they were doing that to their own people. That wasn't the white tea people doing that to them. That was their own people doing that to them. But we stepped in, and as, I don't know if you heard about it, but the food we were sending there was going more to the warlords than to the hungry people that we saw on TV. And then those TV people were getting fat off of the donations that we were sending too. So they hardly got anything.
Yeah,
But
that's
while we're
unfortunate.
doing
Yeah.
all of that, while we were making movies and trying to raise them up, they were silently trying to plan our demise to take over. Well, we weren't. They were trying to destiny swap the American people. We are the American people. That's why Trump can't touch us. We've been here. We always been here. Do your genealogy, you will find you don't go back there. But here's the thing. There's a petition going on. I don't know if you caught wind of it or not, but I definitely encourage everybody uh, in this chat to look at it, read it. If you haven't done your genealogy, do it and sign it. Do your due diligence. Just don't take my word for it. I signed it, and I'm encouraging my family to sign it too because it makes no sense. They're not the people that, if you're going to go with the story, that didn't go through all that ship movement, enslavement, and all that. They're just people from over there trying to get the bag. So if Africa is the bag, they say all the resources are over there. Why don't they get the bag from their own land? They're going to different countries all over the place, getting the bag. The richest man is said to be in Nigeria. And Nigeria goes without toilets. People are publicly defecating out there today. So even if they did get our bag, it still wouldn't be no different in Africa. They're just greedy SOBs. And I land with that.
And this is what I'm saying. And thank you. This is what I'm saying. There is a acknowledgement we need to have about the behaviors among the people in Africa. Okay? Because we keep having the thing of nothing they do is wrong at all. There's nothing wrong. It's a flawless culture with flawless people, and all of their problems can be blamed on the colonizers. Now, they don't say that about us. They say our problems are because of how we act and what we do. But their problems are because of the colonizers. No, they got a lot of corruption there. Okay? They do that. They mistreat their own people. They're very corrupt. Their leaders are like that. And the thing is that the people can't rebel because they kind of have the same mentality. Okay, you need a sense of righteousness among the community to have a rebellion. But if everybody is a backstabber, you can't have a rebellion if everybody is a backstabber. And that's the thing. They have too many backstabbers in their community to have a rebellion or fix anything because they can't trust anybody. There's so much tribalism. There's so much backstabbing in the continent. And this is why they can't progress. All right? It is a shame. It really is. That there are places that have so much natural resources and in places that don't have electricity for a day. So much, diamonds out the ground, oil out the ground, gold, the minerals that we need for our smartphones come from them, yet they don't have toilets. These people should be having flying cars at that point, at some point. And that's because they have a culture of backstabbing each other from the government down to the citizens. And I'm saying it because it's the truth. I'm not saying it out of hate or malice, but that's because it's the truth. And we keep coddling them and try to act like that's not the problem. That's not what they're going through. And because they keep going through that, that's why they can't progress. That's why Asians can come over there, start running them. Okay, well, you want to talk about an Arab who's standing behind a damn bulletproof glass in a corner store in a black community. They ain't sitting up there whooping our ass like they whooping their ass. Okay, just keep that in mind. They coming over, the Arabs or Asians or whatever that's coming over there, they're not running the community. When they go to Africa, they're running that community. It's a very different thing. It is. And that's because they can't stick together, because they have a culture of backstabbing. Are all of them backstabbers? For somebody to be like, not everybody. No. But the culture is the common practice. That's what it is. That's what it means. And the common practice is not trusting and backstabbing each other. All right. We're gonna.
This Afro.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I'm going to just tell you something that happened on the panel earlier this morning. So shout out to FBA Primetime, right? So I go in there, the room is a mess. And he's like, BX, I'm happy you're here. So they make space for me to get on the panel. And I explained to them what the issue is and what the frustration is. And I listed not only by personal feelings, but what they're doing in our government and stuff like that. And the young lady, she was willing to learn. So she was quiet. She listened to us for a while. But I zoned out because I'm just tired of the conversation, because either you get it, you don't, because you don't want to, right? But I hear her saying, so you mean the funding is only for y'all and y'all not, and it's not for other people? So one man said, and he's an Indigenous brother and very educated, you know, I started following him, and he says, you know what, this may not sound right, but yes, we are to get ours first, and then if there's anything, then y'all. And when I went, I said, hold on, I gotta say this. I don't care if I'm the bad guy right now, but it ain't for y'all. So no, you ain't entitled to it. It's for foundational Black Americans and anybody who could identify as such, right? Because they have the lineage. It's for the work of our ancestors. What did your ancestors do on this land? This is the minds, and she was young. She's in her 20s. Like, it's got to be some real education going on. They got to stop with the backstabbing or having their hands out, expecting us to give them everything when they got stuff specifically for them. For them. And it ain't us undermining them, but now they comparing us to the Triple K. I say, y'all don't know what hate is. Y'all weren't straight fruited. Y'all didn't have crosses burnt on your land, the N-word burned into you and all this stuff. All you mad at is that we're defending ourselves from the treachery that y'all have been doing to us. I feel like Africa and the Europeans ain't never stopped selling us out. Because whenever they get together, something is wrong for us. And we can't defend ourselves. And then you expected our reparations, but ain't nobody, when these people go Afro to CARICOM, with CARICOM to the UN, they may mention us, but we ain't on their bill. That African immigrant caucus, no, they ain't like us. You know why? Because they said we deserve the same rights and respect in politics as the African Americans. Why? There's a congressional Black caucus who's supposed to be fighting for all Black people, and they even got marginalized groups. But you go to these marginalized groups and they ain't got Black Americans. They ain't even blinking us into existence in their mission statements. And there's a Caribbean immigrant caucus and a Haitian immigrant caucus. And y'all expect me not to be frustrated with y'all? And when I ask y'all for solutions, it ain't everybody. Okay, we know that. We know that. Or my children wouldn't have the ancestry that they have. But I'm asking y'all now, I'm past the point of talking, right? I ain't going to diminish the panels because this is awareness. However, when I say what's the solution, I expect the answers because I got mine. I need you to help me vote even your people out, because they're not advocating for foundational Black Americans either, right? So, well, they're advocating for them, but not for us. They're not securing wins for Black Americans.
Mm-hmm.
It's frustrating. They expect us to accept this stuff, Afro.
They do.
And I ain't coddling them. I'm not protecting them, meaning if one of my people is schooling them, get them. I'm going to be back there doing Adams. Get them. Got them.
The thing,
Books back. I mean, yeah.
the
Because
thing
they
is
need it.
that
They need, sometimes we got to correct people, other melanated people out of
yeah,
land.
that's true. And the thing, truth be told, it's sad the fact that you guys are even asking for. And first off, let me let you know something. When we get, and I'm saying when we get reparations, ain't gonna be none left. We gonna need to use 100% of that. There's a lot of work that needs to be done with reparations. We not just reparations. The fight's over. No, okay. There's a lot of stuff we need to do with our reparations. So ain't gonna be no, well, we got some extra stuff. No, there ain't gonna be no extras. And any extras, we gonna have that. We gonna have to keep all that. Okay, ain't gonna be none left. And if there was, why would we give that to y'all? Because the thing is that we're not sitting up there be all like, hey, Haiti, if y'all get reparations from the French, can we get a little something? If you know, when you done, can we get some scrap? Y'all stop with this damn scavenger ass mentality. What type of starving shit? Come on, what is this? Why are you panhandling for reparations? Like that is some weakness. I'm honestly, that is really sad. Can I get some? Like, you shaking a can for reparations? Stop doing that. And you got your own claim. You'd rather shake a damn empty can asking for some scraps of what we got than go fight your stuff and handle your business. That's sad. That it really is. But we can't be here all night, so I want to get to as many hands as possible. So let's get to Auntie Doll. Auntie Doll, you unmuted, then you muted. You gotta unmute yourself.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I got you.
Okay, great. Thank you. Okay. Well, I'm American. I'm indigenous to the land. I believe that we are what our parents told us we are. And my mother always said we had Indian in us. She never said we had African in us. I believe her. On my father's side, same thing. The man that was talking about in our neighborhood, because I'm from California, in our neighborhood, we didn't grow up with Africans in our neighborhood. Nobody I know have relatives that they say that has relatives that is African. I know we don't in my family. But I want to say that I feel like Africans need to follow suit of Ibrahim Traore. They need to follow the leaders, that kind of a leader in their own community that's for their people. And, I wanted to say something about the word black, and it doesn't mean us because, we're the copper color people. And I'm trying to push for the people, for us. I'm pushing for us to start calling ourselves either copper color, indigenous. If you know what tribe you're in, that's my push. Because black means not, I forgot, it's something like they're not recognized through the law. Like it's okay to unalive us because we're not counted as being alive.
Okay, yeah, in the Black Law Dictionary or something like that. We've heard
Yeah, yeah,
that's kind of outdated. I mean, that's an ancient book, so it's a misnomer, really. And I'm
right.
not
But
telling people what
they
to
tell us it's
identify.
a misnomer, but they still appears to me that they're going by that misnomer. They tell us it's a misnomer, so we won't fight to say, hey, hey, we are not that what you say we are. We're what we say. We have the power of self-determination. And Africans need to stand, I feel this way, that Africans need to stand back and we need to start calling ourselves, if we're going to be pan anything, we should, I feel, be called pan-Indigenous. That we out for our own survival as Indigenous people of the land we were born in originally. We are from this earth. We are not from these different, I mean, I don't know where they're from, the YT or the colonizer have no idea where they're from, but they have, their spirit is very jealous hearted. And as me, in that was in the music industry, they corrupt everything they're involved with. And those that's over the music industry corrupts. They corrupted ours. When I came up, we wasn't singing like or rapping the way they rap nowadays, calling women out their name and feeling like the gang life, the gangster life is the cool life. It wasn't like that with me coming up. So, I just wanted to say that and just throw that out there. We could just be pan-Indigenous. Like everybody take care where they at and stop. Okay. You gonna let me down though. I said it.
Oh,
Thank you.
okay. She just wanted to declare that. Okay.
All right, man. Let's get to the.
I want to tell everybody, be careful with the pan, right? The pan in front of whatever you wish to be identified as, because that kind of opens up the scope, and it takes it broader than just the United States of America. You know what I'm saying? So if you want to be Indigenous or identify as Indigenous, it's best to say that I'm American Indigenous, right? So that we get a better idea that you are from the United States of America. When you say Indigenous or American Indigenous, then you open up the floodgates for the Caribbean to come flocking in. And at this time, they actually have CARICOM, an agency that's in active talks with the Brits. We're not on their claim. The borders are up. They are not like us, and we are not like them. Distantly related, maybe, may resemble each other at times, but still, it's best to put everything in its proper context, because only their country of origin, where they were enslaved, that the person that was in charge of all of that, the government, has to repair them. And there's nothing wrong with that. So be careful with the pans. That's why we got pan goofies or pan-Africans running around here now, talking about we all come from Africa. So please, let's just work on us first, and you can identify as you wish. But I'm standing on foundational Black American because I'm Black and I'm proud, and it fits.
And there are certain people who have an issue with the word black or identifying as black. I'm going to be real brief with this. And they get it from citing, I guess, a book of the Black Law Dictionary. I knew exactly what she was talking about. Well, black is technically dead, so that's why we don't have anything and all of this and all of that, right? Listen, I'm not here to tell anybody what they need to identify as or what they want to identify as. If you don't want to identify as black, I'm not going to sit up there and argue with you on that. But when you're making the case that our oppression is because of us being labeled black, that is not true. All right. Because before we were labeled black, we were labeled colored, we were labeled Negro, we were labeled this, we were labeled that. We were still subjugated. Okay. Our subjugation is not because of the label we have. Our subjugation is because of our category, our racial category, because we are black. Even if I've seen people who say I'm a sovereign citizen and still get beat up and tased by the police. You know what I'm saying? So it's not, you people are acting like if you denounce black, then it puts some type of force field around you, and that's just not true. But I'm not going to spend too much time on that. But y'all can identify with how you want to. But I hope you don't think that there's some type of password into defeating racism. You know what I'm saying? Because it's not like that. It's just not like that. It's no cheat code. It's not like that. Let's get to the real princess, Jasmine.
Can I ask a question after her?
It's my turn. Mute. You literally just heard him say, "Get to real princess." Okay, y'all. So, speaking to the topic, Pan-Africanist bias against Black Americans. Absolutely. I know earlier someone was talking about like the ideology. I know when I was a Pan-African, it's almost like Pan-Africanism for us. You cannot have ethnic pride. Like I was just in a live yesterday, and like and people from the continent, you can have ethnic pride and be Pan-African. Like it's cool, but when it comes to us, you can't have ethnic pride, and that's why Pan-Africanism doesn't promote ethnic pride amongst Black Americans. It promotes back to Africa, or focusing on your African ancestry, not your most recent ancestry, not your most recent culture. Or it focuses on Africanizing Black American culture, which if we're African descendants, you shouldn't need to do that. You should be able to say, oh, okay, this group of people from the diaspora, thank you, this group of people from the diaspora, Black Americans are this group. But it's not looked at that way. It's not, it is, as long as we are towing the line with as long as you toe the line with Pan-Africanism, everything is all right. But but if you try to be like, oh, my culture is this, my culture is that, and focus on being Black American, then all of a sudden it's like, oh, that's not how this works. So I definitely think that you cannot be Pan-Africanist as a Black American and not hold inherent bias towards your own ethnic group, because who I am right now is different from who I was when I was a Pan-Africanist. Do I still hold some beliefs that came about during that time? Sure. But the overall point is that I have ethnic pride just like everybody else in the so-called diaspora.
Yeah, thank you. And the thing is that when we make these lives, and I'm glad you said that, when we make these lives, we don't make these lives because we hate anybody or wish bad for anybody. I don't wish bad for nobody. I don't wish bad for nobody on the continent. I don't wish bad for nobody in the Caribbean, or the Black person in the UK, or a Black person in. We don't wish bad or harm on nobody. Okay. To be honest, I want them to succeed. I want them to do better, which is why I tell them why they're wrong, which is why I tell them why they're in the situation that they're in. Okay. If you're a doctor, you got to tell the patient why the patient is sick in order for the patient to get better, don't you? All right. So this isn't out of malice or anything. I do have ethnic pride. But the thing is that our ethnic pride to them, because they want us to have some type of low self-esteem and demoralize ourselves. All right. And because we're not doing that, they view that as hatred towards Africa or blasphemy towards Africa, because we don't believe that our ethnicity is at the bottom of the barrel in comparison to everybody else's. We have ethnic pride. And the second we speak of our ethnic pride and why we're proud of ourselves, they are sitting up there reconstruing everything we're saying into us hating everybody else. Because to them, we're supposed to think low of ourselves and put them on a pedestal. And we're not doing that anymore. We're not going with this one-sided thing where we got to be treated like the damn ugly duckling. And I was saying this the other, we got to be treated like we're the unwanted foster child of the diaspora, and everybody else gets to be treated like they're royal blood. No, that's not how this is gonna work. We are not doing that no more. We are not doing that anymore, especially considering when you look at the board, who's been putting all the points on the board has been us. Don't tell me we putting 70% of the points on the board and we get treated like we not supposed to be on the team. Hell no. No, we are not doing that. No. But thank you. I'm glad that you're highlighting that point. Our love for us is not hate for nobody. And I don't want to preach hate for quote unquote anybody. I want you to love yourself and love yourself enough to demand respect. That's it. All right. And that's not too much to ask. But let's get to, thank you, Jasmine. Let's get to Lips and Froze.
Thank you for allowing me back up again. Peace to the panel. The more I've been listening to everybody's conversation here on the panel, the more I realize, I know we've heard this term before, it genuinely does feel and sound like a destiny swap. Because the more that we stand up for ourselves, it was something they didn't expect we were going to do. And you know they're trying to swap with us. Look at how they have taken our FBA, foundational indigenous heroes in America in movies and have Africanized them by using Cynthia Erivo for Harriet Tubman and all these other movies that were literally our history. And then they'll take those same movies and they'll put not black, they'll put African people transposed over them. For the longest time, I've been saying this, and now I'm fully seeing it with my full eyes, is that they're trying to take our place. And this has been the play since the 70s, since they got over here. They were envious of everything we had. They've been envious of our icons. They've been envious of our culture. They've been envious. So in order for them to get in, to make this swap happen, we embraced them foolishly, but now we know better. And their whole entire time was to get in with us so they can absorb our culture, absorb our ways, absorb everything about us, kick us to the curb, tell us we're Africans so they can take our place and take all our great achievements, our history, our inventions, and deem them their own. That's what the play is. And Pan-Africanism ain't nothing but the ops. Period, point blank. And people that are Pan-Africanists, that are here in America, that are actually Black American, they're the ops too. They're either related by blood to an African person, maybe married or dating an African person, in my personal opinion, or some kind of connection to that side of the fence, and they're in on it. Because sometimes you do have those traitors, and those were the ones when Harriet was trying to get the people free, and then you had those ones that was trying to get people back on the plantation. She unalived. And we have to be careful now, because now we have enemies on both sides. We have enemies in our own camp, and we have enemies actively trying to take our achievements and our greatness and make it theirs. Why are they all of a sudden doing all these movies and all of a sudden it has this heavy African influence to it? Because they're trying to steal our history and make it theirs, and while actively telling us we don't have a culture. Because our culture is for them to take over and claim for themselves. And they hate the fact that we're throwing the monkey in the wrench into the punch bowl by saying we're delineating. They hate this because now they can't say we're us and we're the same. They can't say we're not the same. We've never been the same. DNA proves we're not the same. Bone structures prove we're not the same. And then something recently came out with far as our DNA is concerned, through the mitochondrial DNA of the mother, has proven as Indigenous foundational Black Americans, we are not the same as them. So no matter how much they want to tell you they can't tell the difference and why they're trying to other ourselves, because we are a different, separate, set apart group. And that's just all that it is to it. And I deem anybody that's Pan-African is the ops. Point blank on the period. I'm going to mute up on that.
Appreciate you, sis. Appreciate you. Look, I've been saying this for the long, now we're starting to really understand and view why we've gotten to where this space is very productive. Oh, as you're coming in, you got to mute yourself. This space is very productive because now we're exposing why we're at where we're at. Okay. We got a whole bunch of people who've had very low ethnic self-esteem, and they've not even pedestalized, deified Africa as if Africa is some type of deity. Okay, and they got to make these sacrifices of their own pride, their own ethnic pride, for the deity of Africa and everything else close to it. All right, and because we've been taught that we all need to, quote unquote, stick together, we've been kind of going along with that too much. Not all the way, not as far as they are concerned, but too much. Now we're starting to peep game about the fact that actually we're the people that everybody wants to be, just like Lips and Froze was saying. That's why they're coming over here trying to act like us and playing our roles, and we're not going to their countries trying to be in their movies and trying to replace them to any degree whatsoever. All right. We're not doing that. They're doing that over here. So now we're finally having an accurate analysis of what the issue is. So this is a great space. This is very productive. All right. Now, if y'all disagree, y'all can come up, but y'all ain't been coming up. Y'all just been disagreeing in the chat room, which proves my point. Because if you can't really stand on it, you know it's wrong. Now let's get to Miss Phyllis.
Hello, thank you for having me.
How you doing?
I'm Miss Phyllis. I'm 65 years old. I was born in 1959. Grew up in the 60s and 70s, and I think that a lot of us had strong, maybe we weren't Pan-Africanists, but we had strong Pan-African sentiments. I guess that's the best way to put it. You know, I remember my grandmother, who was born in 1901, sending money. You know, my mother, I can remember her when I was 4 years old saying things to me like, you need to eat all your food because there's kids in Africa that are starving because of what she had seen on TV. You know, my mom was born in 1924. So it was always this thing in my family where we were helping and sending money. And I grew up thinking like really that we were all the same, you know, that, you know, my father and mother never told me anything about Native American ancestry. My father told me about West African ancestry. And so that's what I believed. I came to a different understanding. You know, I also remember when Jesse Jackson came out, you know, promoting us, calling ourselves African American. And I'm like, oh, that's great, you know, because we're Americans of African descent. But then later on, I didn't want to use that. And that has come about in the last 10, 15, 20 years, where I was like, you know, I heard about foundational Black American, and I'm an English language teacher. I'm like, that's an apt description, you know, because our ancestors were foundational to this country. We helped build this country, and we're Black Americans. You know, I'm not part of a movement, but I know that words mean something. You know, it's very important what you call yourself. It's very important not to use misnomers. But during my Pan-African period of existence, I married a West African. And I have a son who is Yoruba on his father's side. And he said to me, he was raised in Black American culture. His father did not raise him. He said, you know, African American, he said, it's such a, he said that was just not a good thing for them to use. And I'm like, well, why, honey? He said, because, he said, it's too generic. He said, it's easily co-opted. He said, just like when people call themselves Black Americans, he said, that's easily co-opted. You have people who have come from other countries. They call themselves Black Americans. But when I was growing up, when we talked about the Black experience, and that's what we called it, we were talking about the experience of Black people whose ancestors were the enslaved, our common experience, our common culture, our common music, our common style, our common way of dancing, behaving, interacting, etc. And so I have come to understand a lot about Pan-Africanism, and it does not benefit us. You know, that's what I came to realize, that it doesn't benefit us. And as the host said, if we say anything that can be construed as negative about Africans, everyone jumps all over us. But if they say all kinds of derogatory stuff about us, calling us Akatas, saying we have no culture, that you know we get that all we do is survive off EBT and Section 8, etc. No one seems to say anything. Where are the Pan-Africanists that are speaking up for FBA or freedmen, whatever people are calling themselves? You know, I don't get it at all. But I think that a lot of times people from my era, we were just miseducated. Okay, we didn't have the internet like you guys do. You know, information was there, but it was not at our fingertips like it is now. And sometimes we just went along with what we heard or what we were told by our leaders and so forth. But now we don't have those excuses anymore. We can get accurate information for ourselves, and we can converse on panels like this. And I will stop right there.
Thank you. I appreciate you. We're
Bro,
not
can I
going to be
add,
able to
Afro,
hold on
excuse me,
too
can I
much.
add one more thing
Okay,
really
just
quickly?
real quick, because we're not going to
Okay.
be able to be on too much.
So, what I want to add really quickly, also, what I'm noticing is that at the end of the day, I'm starting to see a lot of these celebrities really starting to rep um, our culture. Like you're seeing Beyonce with the red, white, and blue. You saw Kendrick Lamar with the red, white, and blue. Uh, Tyler the Creator, his last video he just did, wearing red, white, and blue. I think it's something to that, and I'm going to encourage our Indigenous SBA family, Foundational Black American family, to really start repping your culture and let these people know that we are here and we're outside and we are the culture and this is our culture and it's not for anybody to take. It's ours to hold on to. With that, I'm done.
Hello, host.
Thank you. Hold on, sister. I want to get to, because you had a question. Trey Hood, Tree Hood.
You hear me?
Say something again.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you.
Okay, cool. So I am black and I guess I am indigenous as well. On my mom's side. I don't really understand the whole FBA thing. Is it a claim for reparations only or
No, FBA is a term. It's a name for the lineage, a lineage of people who are descendant of U.S. chattel slavery. Okay, slavery in the United States. That's what it is. It's a lineage, and it's a name for the lineage. Lineages have names. So, Foundational Black American is the name for the lineage. So, there are some FBA. Because it's a lineage, that means it's not like an organization or a religion or a group or anything like that. So some believe in one thing, others believe in another thing. You have Muslim FBA, Christian FBA, people who are spiritual FBA, Republican, Democrat, Independent, old, young, all of that stuff. So that's what it is. Now, most of the people that you will hear who use that term FBA do support reparations. I haven't heard one who doesn't, but that doesn't mean that everybody in the lineage supports reparations. You got some people all like, we ain't never gonna get reparations and whatever. But you know what I'm saying? It's just a lineage.
okay, so yeah, I get what it is. I guess I should have asked why is it so significant or so important that we delineate? And if it is a lineage, do you mean ancestry?
Yeah.
Okay, so somebody mentioned
based off of your ancestry, so yeah.
right. Somebody mentioned earlier that we were not in any way DNA wise the same as Africans, and that is a lie. That is
okay. Let me answer your question. Let me answer your question about
the significance of it.
The significance about delineation.
Okay.
The thing is that we are a different people. Okay, we're different people from Africa. Okay,
what do you mean?
Just like hold on, bro. Just like in Africa, there are different types of people in Africa. Okay, South Africans are very different people from Ethiopians. They're very different. Ethiopians are very different people from Sudanese people. Sudanese people are very different people from Mongolian people, who are very different from Nigerian people, and I can go on, and they're different from Ghanaian people, and they're all on the same continent. They're different, and their difference is very different from a Jamaican's difference, and their difference is different from a Haitians or a Cubans or Puerto Ricans, and we're different the same way. We're very different people.
Right, but that speaks towards ethnicity and culture.
Yes. Our ethnicity and culture is different. Yes.
Okay, but we were speaking about lineage, so it seems like we're jumping around.
Your lineage, yes, your culture and your ethnicity, yes, all of that is tied in together. That's not, these things are put together. These things are not separate things. Our
Okay,
history and our history on a different landmass is different. That's what makes us different.
okay. I'm asking questions because I would rather have a fluid conversation because I'm being inquisitive and I'm trying to test the logic here. But in no way am I trying to argue or anything. But it doesn't seem like it's consistent logic when you jump from, because lineage anthropologically is, it means something. It means ancestry. Usually you need a DNA test, your Y haplogroup.
No. Usually you don't need a DNA test. DNA tests are very new science.
Sir,
And people keep bringing this up. DNA science. People have, sir. Do you
I
not know, brother? Do you not know that people have had lineages before DNA?
there was no way to find someone's lineage accurately if we did not, until we had DNA. So I agree with you, it
First,
is a new science, but you
it
cannot
is.
determine lineage unless you
No,
have
no,
DNA.
sir. Lineages have existed for centuries. Okay, the lineage is not a new thing whatsoever. Nor do you need a DNA test to verify that.
Sir,
Actually, using DNA is actually a flawed method of verifying your lineage. Okay, because that can go all over the place.
so what do
Okay,
you,
so
how
we
would
do
you
have a lineage. And now let me ask you, what are you trying to say? What flaw in the logic are you trying to point out?
well, one, if we were to look up what ancestry is right now, you
Okay.
can only find your ancestry, which you said was lineage, through DNA. Now I understand that you can
No,
only
you
pull,
cannot. That's not the only
sir,
way to find it.
sir, what I feel
But
like,
let's say for the sake of the argument it is. Then what?
because DNA wise, we are all this, not we are all the same, but most of us are the same. So I'm speaking to what someone said earlier on the panel, saying that
When
DNA
you
wise,
say when you say most of us,
We
you
didn't
mean
make
most
that
of Black
claim though.
Americans? You mean most of Black Americans, or you mean all people of quote unquote African descent?
I mean, to be more accurate, I mean most of the people who are of sub-Saharan African descent, and I mean most of the people who are in the Caribbeans and in the Americas and in the Americas.
Okay.
Most are the same haplogroup. Most are of the same lineage. When you talk anthropologically, this is a science, and you say lineage or you say ancestry, you are talking about DNA. Now, when people talk about, some people, when they talk about ancestry, they mean paper ancestry, which is something that you pull. It's speaking to your ancestors, like the
Okay,
past
so
eight
let's for
generations.
the sake of time, let's say for the
Can
sake
I
of time,
answer this
no,
Afro?
no, let's let them go. Let's
I'm
say for
sorry.
the sake of time,
Okay.
let's say for the sake of time, we do have this. We have similar, because it's not true that our DNA is the same. That's actually incorrect. But let's say for the sake of time, we have similar DNA. Then now what?
What do you mean now? What? I don't understand why you would want to decrease your numbers in a fight against an oppressor that's
Oh, so
against
now, okay, thank you for
everyone
actually
who
getting
looks
to the
like you.
real reason of what you want to say.
I don't, I'm just trying to see the logic in, before I follow something or before I get into something. I like to look at, why is this even a thing? And
So your thing is the fact that you don't agree with delineation. It's not that you think we have the same lineage. You just think that we should all work together and not recognize our differences. Not that you don't see differences, but you want us to just ignore our differences. Is that what you really mean?
no, I think we have the same lineage. I think we have different cultures. There's a difference. We have different cultures. We came from the same culture. That's why a lot of our cultures have a lot of the same similarities. We do a lot of the same things if you look at the history and you look at the anthropological evidence. But I don't think that it would do us any good to separate ourselves from allies who could help us, especially considering a lot of the griefs that I've heard and complaints that I've heard from FBAs are being induced by the dominant society and not by Africans.
Well,
Like,
let me.
oh,
Okay.
they're
Well,
putting.
here's the
Let
thing.
me let me give
Here.
an example real quick. Let me give an example because
Okay.
they're putting Africans in movies and they're trying to take over our identity. Do you think Africans are doing that, or do you think there's another structure that are putting these people in place? It is a divisive technique to divide people. I don't think
At the
that.
end of the day, brother, they're complicit with the program. They're along with
Wouldn't
the
you
pro.
be?
At
That
the end
makes
of the day,
sense.
whether they're the ones, whether they are the ones who set the plan up, or if they are the ones who are going along with the program, they're going along with the program. All
Wait a
right.
minute.
Now,
So you come
hold
to a
on, hold on,
country.
hold on. Let me get to the whole thing about lineage. What you're trying to redefine what lineage is. Lineage is not based off of quote unquote your DNA matching. All right, DNA is a new science that doesn't determine your lineage, because with that argument, if you're going to say we have the same which we don't have the same DNA that Haitians and Jamaicans and Trinidadians and then Africans have. We actually don't. If we all did a DNA test, our DNA would come up as very different things. Okay. And that's been scientifically proven. So
No,
even
it
if
would
that
not.
was, sir,
I'm
even if
looking
that
at
was,
Google right now. It says DNA is a tool
stop,
used for determining lineage.
stop. Even if that was how even if that was how lineage was determined, we would still have a different lineage, which it's not how lineage is determined. All right. But the thing is that you're trying to make it seem as if we all have the same. No, our history, our lineage, our culture is very different from everybody else, because with that argument, everybody in the world you can really say has the same lineage.
That's not.
Everybody on the northern hemisphere can trace their lineage if you go back far enough to some black people. So everybody on the northern hemisphere, including white folk, are technically have the same lineage. And then if you go that way, everybody in the world has the same lineage. So there is really no lineage if you're going to use that logic. So
Okay.
that logic is flawed in and of itself, from start to finish, and and what you're saying is inaccurate. But the thing is that why you're saying that, oh, why are we not teaming up with people? We're not teaming up with people because when you want to go straight, they want to go left. Okay, and you can't have an army if the soldiers are fighting each other. That's the point. That's the problem. You want us to be this big army fighting this enemy, but the army, you have a whole bunch of backstabbers in the army. Okay, you have a whole bunch of people who are soldiers and don't respect their fellow soldiers. In the army, in the
I get into a
military,
panel, but
sir,
you gonna
listen.
railroad
In the
me?
military, listen, sir, they do drills all of the time to teach people how to work together.
Okay.
Teamwork is a huge aspect
Let's see
of
what
the
this is.
military. There is constant drills and assignments about people how to work with your fellow soldier, okay? Because that's how you defeat your enemy. But the thing is that we can't work with our fellow soldier because they are backstabbing, okay? They're coming and causing problems. They're getting on panels saying that we don't deserve reparations. They're getting on panels saying that we're lazy. They're doing stuff, all right? That's why we have the Myron Gaines and the Candace Owens and all of them coming over here causing problems. Now, what Lips and Fro said about the the destiny swap is just to show how we are being leapfrogged and how they're getting preferential treatment to be in a position that they shouldn't be in.
I thought you wanted
The
people to come
position
up and
culture
disagree, to have a
sir,
conversation, not so you can
of
preach to them.
sir, of a culture that they are saying that we don't have, and they're coming in trying to cosplay a culture and then tell us that we don't have that culture, which is
This is
cultural
crazy.
erasure, which is also backstabbing. So this is why you can't team up with a group of people who are backstabbing.
This is crazy. Okay, again, I wanted to have a conversation. I thought you were inviting people who disagreed with your point of view.
And
Not to
I
do.
didn't kick
You
you
just
off yet. We're
railroaded.
having a
Doesn't say
conversation.
that.
You just railroaded for a
It doesn't
long
say that
time.
on a
Hold on,
sir.
BS.
All right,
With all due
fine. Let's put a
respect,
pin in. Let's put a pin in it. Let's put a
who is
pin in it because
she?
you know he's short on time. He's
Sir,
short on
Yeah,
time.
and I'm
He's
next, I
short on
believe.
time.
First of all, what he said was inaccurate.
what
Anybody
did I
right
say that
now,
was
hold on,
inaccurate? What did
wait.
I say that
Anybody
was
right
inaccurate?
now
That's
can
fine.
literally Google, does
That's fine.
DNA determine
Does what?
lineage? And it will
Does
tell
what?
You're
you
talking
yes.
about, and
Does
it
what?
doesn't determine ethnicity or if you were
I didn't
related to
say
an enslaved
ethnicity. I
person,
said
sir.
lineage. So this man just lied. He
What is the
told you he
definition,
lied.
That has to do
You're
with
Now, now,
mistaken.
now,
lineage.
now
everybody
everybody's jumping on
hold
me
on.
because I
What
stated a
is,
fact.
Okay.
sir, what is the definition of lineage?
First of all, can you concede to the fact
What
that
is the
DNA is used
definition
to
of
determine
lineage?
lineage? Don't
What
run
is the
from that.
definition of lineage?
Don't run from that.
What is the
Concede.
you're the
I'll give
one
you the
telling me
definition,
I'm
but you
wrong
have to
about
concede
lineage.
that
You're
DNA
telling me
determines
I'm wrong
lineage.
about lineage, so I'm asking you
Because
what
you
is the
are.
definition of lineage?
First of all, okay, I'm about to give you the definition of lineage. I'm looking it up now. But
What?
you should
No.
concede
You told me I was
lineal
wrong, so
descent
you
from an
know it.
ancestor,
So you know
ancestry,
it.
or
If you
pedigree.
tell
I just
me I'm
answered you.
wrong and you know it, you need to
Sir,
tell me
are we having
you
a
should
fluid
know what the
conversation or
definition of
not? Can you
lineage.
hear me? I just answered you.
What
Lineal
is it?
descent from an ancestor, ancestry, or pedigree. The second one for biology is a sequence of species, each of which is considered to have evolved from its predecessor. Now, when we go back and I say, does DNA determine lineage, or can you find lineage with DNA? It says
The
yes.
definition,
DNA is a
sir.
That's not
powerful.
the
Wait,
definition
stop.
of lineage.
I just
Right.
read you the definition. Lineal descent from an
But even if it
ancestor,
was,
ancestry, or pedigree.
one moment, and no DNA test determines that. It's the paperwork, sir.
Going back again,
It's the
yes, DNA
paperwork.
is a powerful tool for determining
Up.
lineage
Oh
Let me
and
ask you a
God.
tracing
question.
ancestral
Let me
connections.
ask you a
What are
question.
we talking
Okay,
about?
be quiet, dude. Be quiet,
All
because
right. He
I'm
just
letting
seems
you
to be
go.
a
He wants to do it, and I want y'all to
contrarian.
understand this is the logic that they need because they don't want us to identify as something
Who
separate.
is they? I am a
Be
black
quiet. Be
American as
quiet.
well.
Be quiet. If you took a
Well, I'm
hundred,
getting jumped right
if
now,
you
but I'll
listen,
be
no, you're
quiet.
not. It's just me
I
and you.
really am.
If
It
you
was
took, you
BX2.
need to
Be
be
fair.
quiet and let the host speak.
Well, be
If you took,
honest.
shut. If you took 100 Black Americans and you took 100 Jamaicans and then you took 100 people of from West Africa, okay, and you did all their DNA, what you're telling me is that their DNA will be identical. Is that
More
what you're
than
saying?
likely, all of their DNA will come back E1B1A.
No, is it
Y
going to be the
haplogroup.
same? Is a scientist not going to be able to tell the difference?
What do you mean is a scientist not going to be able to tell the difference? If they dug up the bones of 400 Jamaicans and then dug up the bones of 400 West Africans, all of their haplogroups more than
I
likely will
said
be the
no
same.
because now you're moving the goalpost, brother.
We
You're
can
moving
take a
the
live, we
goalpost.
can take a live
I said
Jamaicans and
if
a
you
live
did a
African.
DNA test and you
Mm-hmm.
tested a lot of us, a lot
Yes.
of them, and a
Yes.
lot of them, would the
Yes.
DNA be the same?
Yes. If you're testing
No,
males,
it
why?
would not.
Yes, it would.
And the reason why I'm saying no, it
We can
wouldn't.
do
You need
another
to be
Google search
quiet.
on
Sir,
this.
be quiet.
I wish you would let people
Sir,
share
be quiet.
screens.
Because you don't know. Because they've already done that.
I'm literally
I'm
looking at the
asking you, sir,
information.
I'm asking you because that has already been done. And
Sir,
they have already,
okay.
sirs, listen.
I'm literally
They
looking
have,
at the
sir,
information.
if you don't, okay. Okay. I don't believe you're a Black American, first off, because you doing too much.
He not.
Okay. Now, here's the thing. They've already done that. And they've already
Tell you?
determined. Okay, you have a good day. They've already done that. And the thing is, as I'm talking, and I gave him a lot of time, as I'm talking, he keeps talking and talking and talking and talking. DNA does not determine your lineage because we've had lineages and people who've tracked lineages before DNA testing was a thing. I let him come up to say, because this is going to be the thing. No, DNA is the same. These people are desperate for us not to claim our own lineage, for us not to recognize our own lineage. These people are desperate. All right. They've already done tests that determines our DNA is unique to us. If a scientist pulls my blood up and then pulls the blood up of somebody who lives on a continental African, they will be able to tell, oh, these are not the same people. Okay, there might be some similarities, okay, because I have a grandfather or grandmother or grandmother. Like if I have 4 grandparents, 8 great great grandparents, 16 great great grandparents, okay, 32 great great great. I'm pretty sure that there was probably some African person in there if I go back far enough, just like everybody on the Western Hemisphere, okay, if you go back far enough. But the thing is that we are different people. Scientifically, we are different people. Science has already determined this very long time ago. And he's trying to redefine what lineage is so he can say we have the same lineage. But we don't. We do not. Okay? We don't. That's the truth. We don't. But let me, because I do have, don't have too long tonight. Hold on.
Right. I saw you put the auto prompt up over there on YouTube. So here's the thing. How many are in the box? Maybe we could
We
do
got
timers
a whole
now.
bunch of people.
But thank you, Lady Delphina. I saw you jumped up here because I know that's your field too. So I have been doing genealogy since 2014, and I've seen a lot of those tests. The one thing that they can't do is exactly show you who you descend from. They're giving you percentages of markers of areas of regions where they think your people may have come from. My haplogroup isn't West African like they say that we came from, but my genealogy shows I do have enslaved persons. It actually could come from 3 places: North Africa, Morocco, and Europe. So you just doing a Google search does not trump experience. To prove lineage, you need documentation. Black Americans are very well documented. Even if we hit a brick wall, we know how to go around it. That's what genealogy is for. So, and genealogy is not to be used when you're going for things like reparations and all this stuff to prove that you're a Black American. The DNA test won't be used, especially at this time. It's the paperwork, and that's why, this is why I got to give a shout out to the American Indians. They say, did you do your genealogy? Do your genealogy, and I concur. Do your genealogy and stop coming up here bothering us, centering yourself off of something somebody else said. This wasn't even Afro's fight to get into. The person laughed, and then you're not even listening. I'll land.
Let's get to the last few speakers here, because I don't want to be too late for YouTube. I got a lot to cover. Let's get to Sherrill Ray.
And
how you doing?
Okay, let me tell you, this has been going on since I think of the 90s. But like she said, we didn't have internet, and then by all these new spaces coming up, everybody can really see what everybody has been saying. Okay, the reason he kept saying about his he was Black and all that, because the reason they came with the word foundational Black American, because once they heard about it, they started saying, I'm African American. Okay, then everybody moved on to Black American. Then they started saying, I'm a Black American. So when foundational Black American came out, they can't say they're from your soil. Because usually it's, I'm Nigerian, I'm Ghana, I'm this, I'm that. It was different things. But see, what really started out when the Essence Fest, they thought we was mad about the Essence Fest. No, because I'm down here in New Orleans. And what everybody just decided, we're not going. Okay, that's why it was like it was. It usually be shoulder to shoulder. Okay, so when they got online, they started talking real greasy. And a little girl said, well, if that's the case, y'all should have bought it. And I replied, I said, if that's the case, just change the name of it. Because it wasn't the same event anymore, but everybody already made their decision not to go to it. So then when everybody was saying they was delineating from them, because people wanted to come in and about their edges on their hair, how they was mistreating them in the beauty stores and everything. Then they came out, y'all xenophobic, y'all don't like us, and they went to making up all kind of cruel things. We worked for the FBI, we were the CIA, And I'm like, I told the girl that day, I said, you know what? If y'all gonna do this boycott, let's go dead silent on them for these last few 3 days or so, because they need us to keep arguing with them. Our space come on like 2, 3 in the morning, right? Do you know they be up? They wait up and they come in those spaces. We be nice like you and we let them up. Why I can't be a FBA? Why? What would it take? How I join? And I'm like, these people have serious problems. They're grifters. But I want to tell you all, the petition that's going around is for the AU. The grassroots thing got involved. It's going around. Everybody have to sign it to opt out. You have to opt out because they were saying there was nothing you can do about it, but it is. Once that's signed, they have a couple of grassroots. They're going up to the trying to think of where is that. They're going before Congress or somewhere because they want to be removed from it. And they have no choice. They say they need a certain amount of signatures of people that want to be removed from it. You know, because they see that the census didn't do any good to remove us from it. So that's what the petition is about. Once you sign it and stuff, and the papers to control, they have to take us off because Haiti was asking to be in the AU. They refused them. So when they say we had it went from $1.7 trillion to $1.8 trillion. And when they seen the reparations bill moving, they decide we're going to jump in on this. And the money going to go straight to Kenya, one of the countries in Africa. And everybody was like, wait, how did we get in this? How did we even get put in this here? It was Haiti was asking to be in it. And it was like they were saying, ain't nothing they can do about it. Yes, it is. So
But I'm gonna have to let you land because
okay,
I really gotta go.
that's fine. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Hello, Las Vegas.
Hey, I'm Angolan. I actually wanted to speak to the one mother. I thought it was Cheryl, but maybe it wasn't. The one mom who said that she married a West Indian, Indian guy, and
Hmm.
she has a child of mixed culture. Is she still there? Is that lady
No,
the?
she's gone. She's gone.
Okay, so I'll move on. But anyways, just as far as the man that was talking to you, he has to understand, and I actually understand that yes, the DNA by now was totally different. We're talking about 400, 600 years differences, and
Hmm.
I totally get it. I mean, at this point, and I like the idea of FBA. So I just want you to know that not all Africans are against this. I think we need you all need to wrap up the culture because it's a special culture. And so I'm always going to go into lives and always bring this up because it does need a name. You know, the only interesting thing is I have a daughter who's of mix, me and her dad. He's from here. So what does she call herself? And then what happens to her kids and then her kids and her kids? So that's just the only thing that people have to be mindful of. After a while, we do get assimilated and unfortunately, and it's bad for me, not for you necessarily. And I land.
Hmm. The thing is that when you leave your land and come to another person's land, when you leave your land and come to another person's land, then the person's land that you come to, that is going to be the dominant culture. Your daughter is black, right, or what?
Yeah. So half Angolan and half African American.
Okay, okay. Because some people saying biracial, so I'm okay, okay.
No,
So
so the thing is, right now, it's like she's African American because she's African and American. And then when she has kids, and I'm assuming you'll be for another black person, after a while, she's gonna go into African American. Oh, one more thing I wanted to say. I'm glad that the census is changing, and one thing that the census should do is they shouldn't even have us under one category because right now they're gonna have us under Black African American category,
so yeah,
and then
okay.
we get to choose or add in. They probably need to have African, and then FBA. I
Yeah,
like
they
that.
do. They do need. So
Yeah,
just so where you from? Where are you from again?
Angola,
Angola, and where's her father from?
the U.S.
So he's
Uh,
the descendant of slaves.
yes.
Okay, all right. I just want to, Be clear with that. Yeah, we do need to differentiate ourselves. We do need to delineate. Okay.
Yeah.
So she would
Mhm.
be half FBA and then half Angolan. Okay,
Yeah,
that's
but,
where her
but then after
ancestors would
after
be.
that, I mean, I'm just saying, she is going to slowly assimilate. My generations are going to assimilate.
Yeah.
So at some point, it's like you can't gatekeep everything forever. That's the
No,
only
no, no,
thing.
no, no. The thing is that she's a part of the lineage.
Okay.
I mean, she is by blood. She is a part of the lineage. Okay, if her father is FBA, she is a part of her father. She comes from her father. She's a part of the lineage. You know what I'm saying? And if she has kids, if her kids are with an FBA brother, they're going to be raised with FBA culture and everything like that. They will also be a part of the lineage. It is That's just how lineages work. It's not new. It's been working like that around the world for the whole time. So that's how it is.
Cool. All
That's
right.
how it
Thank
is.
you.
And there's nothing. And if she's living in America, that's what it's gonna be.
Yes, it is.
We have the
Now,
dominant culture here. All
now
right.
tell me about your YouTube. What is your topic tonight, and where do I
Uh,
go?
my topic tonight is going to be why delineation and calling things out matters, calling people out and categorizing
Try
matters.
to be
Why that's
nice.
so important. So yeah, you definitely want to join. Listen, this is going to be very educational. Let's
What's
get
the
to
name? What's the name? Is it Afro Elite as well?
yes. Yep.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's get to late.
Afro, that's refreshing to hear tonight's topic because it falls in line with something that happened yesterday. But we'll talk because this deserves a telephone conversation between me and you.
Yeah.
Huh.
Okay. Lady.
So what? Before you get to the next person, you want to put a pin in this conversation and don't allow anyone else up because I know
Yeah,
you
yeah,
already
because
have the
I
piece
am
set
gonna
up.
have to
Like
get
where?
off here because
Thank you.
I wanna do a couple more edits before I go live. So let's get to and I know it's a lot of people who want to listen, but y'all just make sure y'all follow me for the next one. Lady Dolphino.
Hi, Afroly. Thank you so much for the space to speak. Shout out to the panel. Shout out to the great room. To BX, thank you so much for your moderating and the wisdom and keeping this in line. So a couple of things that I heard, and I'll be very quick because I know you got to go and do the rest of your business. The first is to echo what you, the host, and BX have stated that lineage does or DNA does not determine one's lineage. That is determined by your parentage and your parents' parentage and your parents' parentage and so on. That is what determines lineage. Now, a DNA can be used to gain insight into that, but DNA is not going to change what your lineage is. Another thing is that as in terms of like the Pan-Africanist and that's Pan-Africanists are biased against Black Americans. I saw a lot of people thinking that that was saying that Africans are biased against Black Americans. And in my experience, there is no Pan-Africanism on the continent, and there isn't even any Pan-Africanism in the Caribbean. Pan-Africanism is is an American ideology that seeks to un-Americanize Black American people. So people bringing up Africa and then changing the topic of this room to center themselves when we weren't even talking about them, and that's not where the conversation was even going. It's a lot. It gives insight into how diaspora wars are even started, because we could be talking about a whole different conversation, like let's say delineation or data capture and whatnot. And somebody will make it about them when ain't nobody talking about them. Another thing, race is dead. In 2019, anthropologists already said that there is no such thing as pure races of the world. Everyone has similar DNA to a plant. That doesn't make people a tree. People are people. And so because race is dead, there's only one group of people who are ethnically Black. One group, and that's Black Americans. The continent has 54 countries, and each country has hundreds to thousands of different ethnicities. We know that the continent is the most genetically diverse place on the planet. So DNA is not going to basically, oh, your DNA is West African. No, our DNA is our DNA, and it's separate from Caribbean DNA, and it's separate from African. Just like you said, there'll be three different groups. And then the last thing that oh man, I wrote this down. Well, anyways, I'll just leave it there. I guess is just really that us saying who we are is not saying who you are doesn't mean anything, or who you are is less than or whatever. Us declaring who we are is just us saying it is what it is. Now, if other people were to take that as an insult, and it is an insult for you to be who you are, then that is a problem, with them, and that's some sort of like mental illness that needs to be explored. So, thank you again for the space to speak. Again, parentage is what determines lineage, not DNA. Oh, and the last point, I have traced my lineage to the 1600s and what is now known as Virginia. Africa was not named Africa until the late 17th century. So after I traced my lineage, Africa was named Africa. And according to Ancestry, it lists fifth cousins. Not, I don't have a fifth cousin that's African. I don't have a fourth cousin that's African, third, second, or my cousins who are my aunts and uncles' children. I don't have no African in there, like not one. So, at what point do we get to like put a period on it and we actually become and are recognized as our own ethnicity? I'll land there. Thank you very much for the space to speak.
Hey, host, one thing I wanted to say.
Lady, one moment. Lady Delphina's credentials is she verifies people's lineage and helps get them ready for reparations. See how that works? So she has credentials. She's a certified genealogist, so she's not just speaking
Helped
out the
over
side of her
50
neck
people.
off of a Google search. Yeah.
So when you say race
She's
is
not
dead,
operating off of a
I
Google
just
search.
want to. When you say race is dead, you mean that as a biological thing, or do you mean that as a social construct?
Anthropologists have already it was in 2019. You can definitely look this up. You can get it in the NHM, which is what the National something for Medicine or whatever. But basically, it's been since 2019. Anthropologists, which are sciences of the people, have already said that they already have established that it is impossible. There are no such thing as pure races or pure racial groups, because people are nomadic. They travel all over the place doing different things. And so really to get the context of who people are, various people groups, those are ethnicities, but there are no races. Because, we can say, like, for us, as Black Americans, we have a lot of different mixtures. Like, for instance, BX has that Southeast Asian. I have 3% Southeast Asian in me. I don't know, but that doesn't now somehow make me, Asian. You know what I'm saying? And again, and then also we have, a good amount of, European ancestry. That doesn't make me a European. You know what I'm saying? So I don't understand why, even with our, the African ancestry that we have, they're like, oh, it now makes you African. And then according to the theories, like you have brought up, Afro Elite, a theory is that all of humanity, stemmed out of Africa, which is a theory, because there's also the theory of Pangea, and we also know that the whole earth was melanated at one point. So take that with what you will, but yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Host, may I speak?
I just hold on, because actually we're about to close. So I just don't want us to have anything kind of be confusing or anything like that, because my thing is fighting against white supremacy. So that's my thing, and I don't want us to kind of get construed with nobody is, because if you say race isn't a thing, then that would mean nobody's white. You know what I'm saying? So
Well,
that's
I
why
would
I
say
just wanted for you to specify exactly what you're
got
talking
that.
about. You're talking about it on a biological sense. You know what I'm saying? So
I would say so, but there are people who assimilate to white and
Yeah.
they were and so there is like this, there are white people, yes, and we know that
Hmm.
but even they have melanin, but
Yeah.
there are cultures that were not white that assimilated there, and these are immigrant cultures that came to this country and acted as a buffer, and then started doing whatever they
Yeah.
do to try to
And
threw
what
away
I'm
their heritage to become white. Yeah.
Yeah, and what because the thing is, it's a category. You know what I'm saying? So that's why at a certain point Italians weren't considered that, and then when they needed to be assimilated to the white category, they were able to. Same with British, same with Greeks, same with Irish people or whatever the case is. So these are social categories of people. You know what I'm saying? Based off of the construct.
Yep. And
And I
now
don't want
Minna.
anybody who's listening to kind of miss what you're saying with that.
Got it. Got it. Thank you, Afro. And then to your point, now that it doesn't benefit MENA to go into the white category, now they're working to get into their own category, Middle Eastern North African. Whereas before they were considered white or whitey, but now they're like, oh, that doesn't serve us anymore because of a lot of the minority coalition push, by the government or whatnot, and so they're like trying to get their own category. So you're right as well. Yep. Thank you for that bit of clarification.
Yeah, yeah. All right, but I do have to go on live on YouTube. So BX, if you can close us out real quick. Make sure you guys subscribe to For the Culture. That's where you guys are going to listen to the playback on this. And we have really, really good lives. So y'all go subscribe over there. But I got to go on Afro Elite on
Yes.
YouTube. So Afro Elite. The same name up here is the same name on YouTube. So BX, you got it. Close this out real quick.
Yes. So, right. So, yes, foundational Black Americans, we are not a monolith. We do have different mindsets. But the one thing that we can agree on is the importance of lineage. So, y'all get y'all genealogy done, okay? Afro Elite, I got to ask you, when's the next time that you'll be going live on TikTok?
I want to go live tomorrow, but I'm not sure if I'm gonna what time I'm gonna be home. So I'll let you know. But I do want to go live tomorrow.
Okay. Are we? Okay. Will it be this topic here? Are we putting a pin in this till tomorrow?
I might, but I kind of want to touch on something else a little bit. I want to be a little bit more specific. I might talk a little bit more specifically about the boycott in particular. So it may be this, it may be
Yes.
I'll see.
Can we do both? You believe in multi-topics, or you don't want to push the needle?
I mean, maybe we could do both.
I want to give people in diversity some strategies.
Yeah.
So if we could just, even if we
But if
mention
it's
it for a
leaning,
little.
see, that's why I
Okay.
haven't decided yet. But if it's leaning towards that,
Okay.
but yeah, I'll let you know.
So tomorrow I'll be available, but I think the 30th and like 31st or something, I won't be available during a certain time.
Okay.
But we'll talk offline. This was a beautiful live. We had a little, rough spots there, but for the most part, I enjoyed myself. I got to tell y'all, I'm a lot of frustrated. It's not really hard concepts to understand. I think Afro Elite explains things very well, and he does allow others to have their voice. But when you come up here, that man was sent. If you notice, after he dropped, he said, "I am a fair host, not like this guy." But there's somebody who we both know who feels that why don't we treat his platform like we treat yours? And I'm like, huh? And so me and you will talk about that offline. See, I'm very spiritual. I have a sense of discernment. And sometimes you got to just, prove that you could be in certain, there's levels to this, let me say. But Afro Elite, for the most part, he offers guidance, he offers correction, and he also allows a beautiful platform. And he protects foundational Black Americans where other hosts kind of coddles because they still have Pan-African sentiments. So, sir, if you want to be considered like an Afro Elite, you got to be like Afro Elite. You know what I'm saying? You protect your lineage first and all others afterward, unless you're really not of the lineage. I'll land.
Yep. Thank you all. You all have a good one. Hopefully you guys will join me on YouTube, because that's where I'll be. And if you guys want to listen to the playback of this live in particular, go to For the Culture on YouTube. All right. That being said, you all have a good night.
Peace, Love, and Reparations Foundation of Black Americans.